Hey kids, it's time to get some SML podcast all up in that.
Before I butcher it, before we get into the show and everything else, how do you do the last name? Is it just Gallopain?
Yeah, it's Gallopain.
Gallopain.
Yeah. Or as my stepkid would say, Gallopain in the ass, something like that.
That's pretty good.
That is pretty good. What's up, everyone? This is the SML Podcast. I am your host, Joe. Joining me is CJ and Cole. How are you two doing today?
I'm doing fantastic.
Okay.
I'm doing better than CJ.
Probably.
You guys are life of the party.
Low bar. It's a low bar to set, but at least I'm nailing it.
Bro, I found some posts on Facebook of like stupid ass, depressed ass 12-year-old me. It was funny. I deleted every single post on my Facebook though. Nice. We have a fun guest joining us today. PR man for Team 17 in the US, Vincent Gallopain. Did I say it right?
Wow, that was perfect.
I try. I've been practicing for the whole 30 seconds since you told me. How are you doing today, Vince?
I'm good. Nice to be on the show. Hi, everybody.
It's great to have you on. We've been chatting for quite a while since you've taken the reins of US PR for Team 17, and it's great to have you on the show. How's it going?
Thank you. Well, it's going well. I'm preparing the next big event for us here in the States. That would be PAX West in Seattle at the beginning of September. So, putting everything in place and getting ready.
What kind of fun stuff are you doing to prepare for that?
Oh, God. You really want to know?
Yes.
So
give us the details.
It goes from preparing having the builds ready, the people lined up, of course, arrange the accommodation, the travel, all the booth stuff as well. So all the machines have to be there, rent stuff like, carpets, electricity, and so on. A lot of fun stuff, actually. And, yeah. Contacting the press as well, and that's a big part of it. Booking appointments on our dedicated machine for the media, so people from the media can enjoy our games in a nice environment without waiting in line and stuff, that kind of stuff.
Well, since you're here, I will tell you directly and in person. I will sadly not be attending PAX West. I'm stuck on the East Coast, and traveling west is just, I haven't been West Coast in probably 25 years, something like that.
Ooh.
Yeah, last time I was in California, God, I want to say I was in like middle school or something. I had an uncle who lived out that way, and in Redondo Beach. I'm not sure where you're at. Redondo Beach, California is where he lived, and that's the last time I was out west.
Well, I'm in Los Angeles, but I've been to Redondo Beach once, I think. I don't remember when or why, but I've heard that name before, so I probably drove by there. Are you going, so since you're on the East Coast, are you going to PAX East in Boston?
I am going to try. I have never been there yet, but every year, I have people from the show who come on and talk to us asking if I'm going to be there. I have PR companies like, hey, if you need a press ticket, we could get you in. And I'm just like, I don't know if I could afford a trip there, let alone like a hotel or anything like that. But I want it to happen. I need to do more. Like I need to help the show grow and help us get out there. It's only been, 4.5 years, 300 episodes, but we're getting there. We're growing. The only thing I've ever done every year is a convention called MagFest.
I can say I've been to this one.
Well, they're throwing something called Mag West later this month. So I'm not sure if you've heard of that one at all. That's going to be their first time on the West Coast.
Nope. Where is it happening?
I have no idea. I should look that up.
Well, that's a lot of information on that podcast, though.
Do you do a lot of conventions, stuff like that?
A few. Let's say 5 maybe a year. So we do E3, of course. We do GDC, both PAX, East and West. We don't do Prime. I've been to South by Southwest. Usually we attend TwitchCon and maybe PlayStation Experience. We'll see if we're invited. Yeah, pretty much.
You should look into MagFest. That's going to be in January in the DC area, Baltimore Harbor.
Okay.
It's more of like a fan convention. It's technically it's just like a 4-day party. If you wanna get down to it, they're like not sponsored. They don't have any kind of strict sponsorship kind of groups or anything. It's basically run by fans for fans, and it's been going for. This will be the 16th one coming up, so they've been running a long time, and they've just been kind of blowing up lately. Like I said, they're doing Mag West. I just looked it up. August 25th through the 27th in Santa Clara, California.
Wow.
First time West.
Time for a road trip.
Yeah.
I'm actually Googling where Santa Clara is right now.
I have no idea.
Oh, it's up by San Francisco, by San Jose. It's a ride from Los Angeles, like 6 hours.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I always forget how big California is.
Yeah, when you think of California, you think of two places, Hollywood and LA. And then there's the rest of California.
It's such a huge state.
Yep.
What about you, CJ and Cole? Do you guys do any conventions or anything fun like that?
Nope, I've never been to one.
They don't let rednecks leave the hills.
I do want to go to RTX one day, but...
Cole, you just need to throw your own convention. Just like a backwoods jamboree.
That's called a barbecue.
Do that.
Get like a jug band to play.
No, here we call that shit a hoedown.
Get like banjos and washboards. Is that what they are? Play on spoons. Do like the Mario theme.
The old war stuffs. There's...
you even say Warsh. Oh my god.
I was hoping that slid under the radar.
Oh no, I caught the Warsh.
Yeah, I did too. That was
the only kind of like convention they have around here is there's it's called Rudy Fest, and like it's a big gospel sing.
Oh, that sounds like a party.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because it's a big gospel thing, but it's kind of known for its drinking.
That's funny.
This is big ass party, and this year they had a bunch of problems because it flooded, and like they told people to evacuate because it was coming to flood, and the people didn't leave, and they had to go in and rescue a bunch of drunk people from a gospel show because rednecks do dumb things. And
Obviously.
Oh my god.
I can only imagine what a gaming convention would turn into around here.
Vincent, have you ever been to a flooded out gospel fest?
I can't say, yeah, no.
You're really missing out, I'm telling you.
Did you enjoy how she said washboard?
I didn't get it at all.
It's a washboard.
Warsh is like redneck for wash.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna wash something, rednecks will wash it.
Oh.
And sometimes they'll even do it with water instead of water. Did I get that one, Cole?
I don't know anybody that says it like that, but then that's because we drown. It's water, so
water.
It gets drowned out real.
I know some rednecks who say water. They wash with water. Yeah.
I haven't heard that one. That's not
Yeah, I have
typical
not
around
heard
here to say that one.
Oh,
but
you
we're
guys are
in
lucky.
that.
They say foil weird, though.
What is it?
Some people say foil weird, though. That would be like full.
Full. Yeah.
Aluminum foil?
That's what it's aluminum foil. And
It's
when
funny,
you cook,
though.
you gotta use oil to keep it from sticking.
Oil for the foil?
Yeah.
So Vincent, are you originally from France?
Yes, I'm from France. Funny enough, I lived for 5 years in Montreal, Canada, and Quebecers speaks French, and the language evolved differently, and for us French, they have an accent, but for them we have an accent. So we can have the same kind of conversation that you guys are having right now forever between French people and French Canadians.
What kind of weird differences do they have?
French. Oh no! Yeah, let's talk about something else. I want to make Quebec friends.
Okay, so we'll focus on games. We've covered a number of Team 17 games on the show. I know we just talked about Avon Colony recently on the show. The Escapists 2 is coming up. What all are you guys going to be focusing on at PAX West, game-wise?
So we have a nice lineup, very diverse lineup. We have 4 games total. So the Escapists 2 is going to be there because it would have just launched. We have Yoku's Island Express, the pinball game. Pinball Adventure Open World. And we have 2 other games playable for the first time. Is Genesis Alpha 1 that we showed for the first time at GDC at the beginning of the year, and then E3. And the other one is Sword Legacy Omen. It's a tactical RPG with a very strong storyline taking place in Shattered Britannia, and that's really lovely, made by a studio out of 2 studios actually that teamed up out of Brazil. A very interesting game coming out actually before the end of the year.
And what was the name of that one?
Sword Legacy Omen.
Ooh, that one looks really nice. I just pulled it up on the website. That's I'm liking the look on that one. I don't think I've seen that one yet.
Oh, no. It's a little gem that actually Team 17 signed just a few months back. So we didn't have a lot of time to work on it PR-wise, but it's coming up. We're going to rank up on this one. It's PC only.
Do you know if they're planning for any other platforms, or is it just strictly PC only?
For now, there's nothing planned for other platforms. It's just PC for now. We'll see.
I'll have to keep my fingers crossed because we love our consoles here on SML.
I love my console less than I used to, but still.
Yeah, CJ, you've been.
Your opinion didn't matter anymore.
We didn't talk about that yet. I'm sure we'll cover that at the end of the show.
Yeah, you need to shut your damn mouth.
So yeah, you mentioned 4 games you're going to be showing off at PAX. Let's start with the Escapists, and then since that one is coming the end of the month?
Yep, actually next week.
Give us the rundown. What is the Escapists 2?
Ooh, it's a very interesting franchise. It's a game that started the first one on Kickstarter. One developer alone developed that game, and he raised, I think, 7,000 British pound to finish the game. And Team 17 jumped in to help him out, switched the game engine to Unity, and finished the game and published the first game. And it was an incredible success up to this day. The game, the franchise total, including the mobile version and the DLC and stuff, is more than 4 million units. So it's pretty successful.
Holy
a lot of people, right? A lot of people picked up that game and played on YouTube and streamed the game. It's very popular. It's basically what the game is. It's a prison sandbox where, as an inmate, you have to escape the prison, and you can use whatever you want from the prison in terms of item and stuff to try to find your way to escape. What the second Opus is bringing to the table is multiplayer, the biggest feature. For the first time, it's multiplayer. You have co-op versus up to 4 players, drop in, drop out, both on PC and consoles, PS4 and Xbox One. So we can't wait to, already during the preview period, some YouTubers have been doing crazy things, but I believe that more's coming.
What's some of the craziest shit that people have been doing so far?
Well, there's there's very funny ways to escape, right? You can in a certain prison that is by the water. For instance, you can there's a dolphin, and you can learn the dolphin language, and end up having the dolphin helping you to escape. So I don't want to reveal a lot of crazy stuff that the developers put in the game and that the players will have to find by themselves, but it's pretty insane. And,
that's incredible that you could learn the dolphin language. Do they have like dolphin sound effects in the game as well?
I cannot comment on that. You will have to talk. You will have to find the dolphin and talk to the dolphin.
That's incredible. Yeah, I loved the first game. It had like 4 DLC packs plus the Walking Dead spinoff. So I'm excited to see a second one coming around. I know our friend Purnell did a preview of the Steam version. You let us check that one out earlier this month, and I remember him talking about like he had all these missions that he could like do this and do that and plan for the escape, and he just spent so much time just being a prisoner and enjoying his day-to-day life, which is it odd to see people who you're playing a game where the goal's to escape and instead they just play it like a sim game and enjoy the lifestyle?
Good question. It's a deep one as well. It's I guess the beauty of the sandbox. It's just like GTA. You know, people are doing all kinds of stuff in GTA. Some people want to be a cop and just play a cop and do all what a cop would do in his life in GTA. Well, it's definitely not the goal of the game, right?
Yeah. It's like it doesn't have any kind of dragons or swords or anything, but it feels like a true role-playing game where you just do whatever you want. I guess that's the beauty of sandbox games.
Yep. I guess so. Just like Minecraft.
Indeed. CJ, you're a Minecraft fan, right?
Oh, I'm a very huge Minecraft fan. I love Minecraft.
Have you played the Escapists at all?
I have not. It's installed on my Xbox, and then I also bought the Team 17 huge indie bundle forever ago. And so I have the Walking Dead Escapists too, but I still have not given them a shot yet.
Oh, you bastard.
Hey, at least I bought them. So
thank you.
They have my money.
Thank you for that. On the behalf of the team, thank you.
So next one that you mentioned that is going to be at PAX was Genesis Alpha 1. What's the deal with that game? Tell us about that one.
Genesis is a PC game only as well. Oh, well, hold on. Is it PC game only? I think it's a PC game only for now.
Website is showing it for PS4 and Xbox, unless that's wrong.
Oh, well, for now we only have the... Oh, nice comeback. For now we only have the PC build. It's a very interesting game. It's pretty complex to describe because it's a game that blends so many different game genres together. So it's an FPS, roguelike, spaceship building that has like RPG elements. You will basically you've been sent out to space to just make sure that the mankind will survive, and you have to find, I don't know, just like survive basically. But I don't think it's even about finding ultimately a planet to live. But the way it works, you're in that tiny little spaceship that you're gonna little by little build new rooms. You're gonna use. You're gonna grow your own food. You're gonna develop your own technology, your weapons and stuff. Send out some ship to explore different planets and stuff. When those ships will come back, they might have alien infestation. They might have hosts that will come back with the ship, and you have to fight them within your ship. You can replicate the DNA to clone your crew members. You can mix DNA as well with aliens to create new species, and so on and so forth. I mean, it goes on and on and on and on. It's pretty hard to. I remember the first time actually did a demonstration for that game. It was at GDC, and we were having like 30-minute slots and interviews, and the journalists were coming out of the room, and it was 1-to-1, right? They were coming out literally mind blown. They were shocked. They had like, you know, that blank look in their eyes, and they had like pages of notes, and they were just processing all the information that they got for 30 minutes. And it's it's something that you have to either see or play to understand how everything comes together.
It sounds incredibly ambitious, and it looks really cool.
It is.
Yeah, that sounds up my alley.
That's
I'm
what
sorry,
I
I
thought.
didn't mean to interrupt.
Sorry. I like to talk as well. So don't hesitate to interrupt me. But that's what I thought as well. The first time I've heard about the project, I was like, wow, that's very ambitious. And then and when I saw it and talked to the developer, I'm like, yeah, okay, they're going to deliver. It's going to be incredible.
Now, I have to ask, I know you've had hands-on and you've seen the game, so you know that it could live up to the potential that you're talking about. But a lot of gamers out there are probably still feeling burned about No Man's Sky. Do you worry that people who got burned by that game might be a little hesitant to give this one a shot? Or do you think that when someone gets their hands on it, they'll see that this game is what they're talking about?
Well, this is hard to say. It's something that it's hard to say right now. What I've seen of the game is the core gameplay. The core gameplay loop was there, the mechanics were there, and visually it looks really great. Now all the depth has to be added. So that's pretty much what was missing, in my opinion, in No Man's Sky when it came out. The game mechanics were there, the technology was there, but then it felt a bit empty, right?
Yeah.
So it
felt very, very empty. I've been told that they've built on it a lot, and there's people saying that a year later the game is what it should have been at launch. And I don't know, they lost me when it launched. I bought the collector edition when it came out, and I felt so burned by that game.
You know what? I can't wait to go back to it. I played it as well at launch. I played way more than I should have regarding the content that was in the game at the time. But now that there's apparently a big patch that came out with a lot of new stuff, or maybe 2 big patches, I don't remember. I'm just gonna plug my PlayStation 4 and load the game again. That's one of the problems facing with that generation of console, with everything where everything is digital. You have to erase your games if you don't want to buy like 10,000 gigs of hard drives.
Yeah, I just bought an 8 terabyte today.
Oh, there you go. You have to get rid of your games to put some new ones and swap them around. And in the end, it's pretty painful because when you want to play a game, I want to go back to No Man's Sky. Well, yeah, okay, well, think about that. At 8 in the morning, it's going to be ready at 3 in the afternoon.
Yeah. I'll give Sony credit. At least they finally added external hard drive support.
That's good, but that's a concern as well, because unless you're 100% sure that your USB connection and everything's fine, there's always a risk that it would impact the not necessarily the stability, but the frame rate, the performances of the game.
I don't know. On Xbox One, it works perfectly fine. I've been using external for years.
I think nearly all of my Xbox One games are on an external hard drive.
Yeah.
One of my friends bought one of those USB docks that kind of look like toasters and bought a regular laptop hard drive, but he bought one that was 7,400 RPM and hooked it up to his Xbox. And so he always loads into games and gets them launched twice as fast as the rest of us do. He'll be like, "Where are you at?" And we're sitting there going, "We're still loading, jackass."
That's why some people will buy external SSDs.
Yeah,
oh, man, solid state drives, those get expensive though.
Yeah, they do. And there's a new version of those, like W2 drives, which I'm getting one for my PC because I'm doing a full PC upgrade.
Oh Jesus!
I'm super excited.
I don't know. I'm good with just the standard externals I have. I don't know. I've gotten used to load times. That's what cell phones are for. I'll just fire up Reddit or Twitter and just browse for a few minutes while a game loads up.
Yeah, I'm not gonna spend a stupid amount on an external. Like an 8 terabytes for I got it for like $169. It was like that's a pretty good deal for 8 terabytes.
Yeah.
I'll take it. And it's a Seagate, so it's reliable. It's not like some weird off-brand company.
I killed my Seagate. I don't know how I did it. I don't know. I plug it into the Xbox and it makes the Xbox go on an endless power cycle loop.
Oh, wow.
But I can plug it into the computer and it's fine. But I plugged other stuff into the Xbox and it's fine. So I don't know. I broke
That's weird.
it.
Well, why are you breaking shit?
Maybe you should plug it back into your PC and then format it and then try it
That's
again.
what I thought about trying. I looked up the directions on how to format it back from Xbox. So I was going to format it back to the PC and then format it back to Xbox again. See, maybe. We'll see. But
yeah, there might just be an error on the drive that could be fixed that way.
as of right now, it is currently DOA.
I like how sidetracked we get.
Yeah, I know, right? At least
now we've taken over the podcast.
You know how many times I've driven the podcast off the cliff about goats, and all of a sudden I don't have goats to do that anymore?
So Vince, do you have goats?
What are your feelings on goats? He done hung up on us.
No comment on goats. He's like, what the fuck are these people talking about?
We don't do goats in Los Angeles.
What about in France? Did you have any goats in France?
Oh yeah, we have goat cheese in France. Delicious goat cheese.
I have never had goat cheese.
It's very nutty.
Yeah, it's super good.
Nutty. That's an odd... How is cheese nutty?
It's got a nutty flavor to it. It's kind of earthy and nutty, yeah.
I mean, if you made it with almond milk, it might be nutty.
No, you should make it with goat milk. That's why it's goat cheese.
Well, the joke was that an almond is a nut. You ass.
Yeah, but it was a bad joke.
You know what? You're a bad joke.
I know, that's why you guys keep bringing me back.
I'm so sorry, Vincent. I'm so sorry.
It's totally fine, man. You were totally right, though. I needed a drink.
It probably doesn't hurt.
So what are you drinking? Anything good?
Ooh, I was drinking a French alcohol, actually. Yeah.
What is it called?
It's called Ricard.
Never heard.
Let me find. Yeah.
What kind of alcohol are we imbibing here? Is it like a wine, or is it isn't this a gaming podcast? How do we get...
Gamers like to drink.
Exactly. It's just normally energy drinks, but still.
So it's like a hard liquor or more of a social kind of drink?
It's more social. It's from the south of France. It's made with anise. And you just mix it with water, very cold water. And it's pretty sweet and pretty good when it's warm, especially when it's warm outside. Maybe why it's coming from the south of France, where it's nice temperature all the year around.
Yeah, it's always good to have something refreshing when it's warm out. I can't wait until summer is over. I am so tired of sweating. Oh, man.
I just can't wait until summer's over because I hate bees and wasps.
I mean, technically, summer's already over because my kids went back to school, so I'm just
Actually, technically, it doesn't end until September 21st. So, at me.
DJ, why'd you get so pedantic?
I started hanging out with some weird-ass people.
Anyway, moving on. The third game you mentioned that you're going to be showing off at PAX is called Yoku's Island Express. What is this game?
It's a very fun game that is coming out of nowhere, developed by those guys from Sweden at Villagoria. It's a pinball adventure game. You're playing that dung beetle that is pushing a little ball and about to become the new postman on an island. And it's basically you're gonna use the left stick to move left and right. And every once in a while, you're gonna encounter some flips, just like a normal pinball, and you're gonna play a pinball game to just advance through the level and solve puzzles, that kind of stuff. Just take a look at the trailer. It's big. It's very beautiful. It's hand drawn. All the graphics are hand drawn, and it's very very fun to play. It reminds a lot of people of Sonic's Pinball.
Yeah, this one looks beautiful. I'm checking out some of the screens now. So is this like a mix of pinball with platforming elements, or is it just entirely pinball?
This is, as you said, it's definitely a pinball and platform in an so-called open world. Because or I would say maybe Metroidvania world kind of universe, where you unlock new path in the in this universe on the island as you go.
I am very, very interested in this one. We love pinball on the show. We've had folks from Farsight and Zen on the studio a handful of times. So we always love covering and talking about pinball stuff on the show. So this one is definitely on my radar. Is there a timeline for when this one might be coming out?
No, for now it's 2018.
Damn.
We but you should have come to PAX West. We have a hands-on version there, both on PC and Nintendo Switch as well.
Ooh, hands-on for the Switch.
Mm-hmm.
I like the fact that
excites Joe.
It does. I love my Switch. I have my Switch hanging out right next to my desk. I've been playing today. I've been playing more and more of my Switch lately, and I love seeing that system getting more support. I know the Escapists 2 is hitting the Switch as well. Are there other Team 17 games that you guys are looking into bringing to the Switch?
Well, we just released Overcooked at the end of July, and the game has been suffering a little bit of frame rate issues and little bugs here and there. So a big patch is on its way to fix that. We just talked about Yoku's Island Express, and that's pretty much it for now.
Is there any thought on bringing Worms to the Switch?
That's a good question. I should ask the dev team what they think about that. And of course I forgot, but Yooka-Laylee is going to come on the Switch as well. Has been planned for a bit since the beginning, actually, to come on a Nintendo platform. I have to switch from the Wii U to the Switch, but it's still in development.
Now the Wii U version got scrapped, didn't it?
Yes.
Well, was it tough to just completely cancel the Wii U version and focus on the Switch?
Oh yeah, I can't talk for the folks at Platonic, but it was really a nightmare to make the game run on the Wii U.
I'm guessing just how underpowered that system was in the long run kind of shut the door on that version.
Yeah, and the game has been developed on Unity as well, so it's a very friendly engine, but it can ask for a lot of resources if you want to take it to the next level. So that definitely wasn't working well on Wii U, and the decision has been taken to literally switch for the next Nintendo platform, which was the Switch at the time.
Do you know how far along that version is? Do you know if it'll be releasing this year at all?
I haven't seen it, but maybe it's because I haven't been to the UK office in a while. But Platonic, every now and then, I know they have a version there. It's just optimizing the build right now. This is the phase they're at to maximize the performances.
Now, when Yooka-Laylee first came out, I know Like, there seemed to be two camps of people with the game. There were people who were fans of 90s platformers and understood that Yooka-Laylee was going to be a very 90s platformer through and through, and they loved it for what it was. And then there was a group of people who just, like, expected it to be a current day platformer, ignoring the fact that from the beginning they marketed this as a 90s platformer. Was Team 17 disappointed that it got kind of a mixed reaction on launch?
Disappointed, no. Surprised, yes, definitely. But it's just like for any other game. It triggered people. And it triggered like definitely those two reactions you're talking about. Just like in every conversation, you can choose to be, in one side of the fence or the other for whatever reason. I guess like for that's exactly what we saw for Yooka-Laylee. We had those people that understood from the beginning that it would be an homage to the 19th platformers, and it would be exactly like it. And that was definitely what Platonic was aligned to do, and that was their mission from the get-go on the Kickstarter page. And some other people, wanted to see something new, and maybe they haven't played Banjo-Kazooie before. Maybe they there's. I don't want to insult people or anything. Of course, there's people that love Banjo-Kazooie that didn't find that in Yooka-Laylee, and they were very disappointed. But there's some people as well that that nostalgia thing. When you remember when you were young, you were playing that game, and it was a lot of memories. But it goes along with the age you had at the time and the technology and everything. And you grew up, you saw a lot of different things, and you changed as well. So your taste is not the same.
Yeah, I was surprised that it came out, and there were so many people who were shocked that a game that was heavily advertised as being a straight 90s platformer with better looking visuals released, and it was a straight 90s platformer with updated visuals, and people were shocked that it was a straight 90s platformer with improved. It's like they didn't lie about what the game was. They were very upfront and like, this is what the game is going to be, but it's going to look better because, we have updated technology. And
I think we tend to look at nostalgia with rose-colored glasses, though. And so, like, we remember the things about those, 90s platformers that we loved. We've forgotten about the parts that frustrated us, even in the 90s. And then when you get represented with that and you're older and you're like, what's this? Why is this here? This wasn't in my game 90 years ago, and you're like, no, it totally was. You just forgot it, Gramps.
Yeah, then you go back and play it and you're like, oh yeah, the camera has always sucked in 3D platformers. And like we've covered, so it seems like 90s style 3D platformers are getting a big kind of a comeback with Yooka-Laylee, with Snake Pass. We've covered a number of them on this show. Yeah, and every single one of them has camera issues. I know Yooka-Laylee put out a patch to give more manual camera control. What steps do you think could be made to improve 3D camera controls?
Oh, wow. That's a good question. Sorry.
Because it seems like every 3D platformer is affected by it. People just can't nail a camera in these games.
Well, I would say first and foremost, it depends on what the player wants. Do you want like the beginning of the 3D era platformers? Do you want to have a manual camera on one stick and then move your character with the other stick? And if that's that, then fine, just get that. But if you want a camera that follows you at all times, yes, you will have issues when you're close to walls and stuff like that, because that's how our program works.
It seems like a lot of the games that come out, they'll give people manual control to an extent, but then when you start moving, it always goes back into some kind of follow mode. And I think that's what throws me off in a lot of those games, where I'll position a camera exactly how I want it to take care of whatever jump I'm trying to line up for, and as soon as I start moving, the camera will move behind me. I'm like, son of a bitch. I had the camera there for a reason.
design decisions. You have to do things that you have to appeal to everybody, and not everybody's the same. Not everybody wants the same thing, and that's why they came up with that option, so you can have a different camera control. So listening to the feedback definitely helped a lot Playtonic to come up with that patch, and they're trying to please the maximum amount of people, adding more options so people can play the game and enjoy the game the way they want. But it's at the beginning, when you have a limited time to develop your project, you definitely can do everything. You have to pick up. You have to just choose something you're gonna do and go for it.
Now, I know the patch they put out included the camera updates to give more manual control. What other stuff was in the update? The thing I love about Playtonic is the game came out, it got reviewed, people had issues, and Playtonic seemed to go right back to work to try and fix the problems. So what else was addressed?
Oh God, there's a list that is there's 30. A part of performances and stuff like that. There's a lot of options. Some people have been complaining that they hate the voices, right? The quirky voices and stuff. So you can turn that off. You can skip the dialogues. So those kinds of option, since people have been complaining about that kind of stuff, then yeah, okay. Now it's fine. You can just remove it if you don't like it.
Yeah, I gotta agree with the voices. I never understood the whole. I don't know.
They're fun for the first 20 minutes or so, and all of a sudden you're like, "Why is this still happening?"
It's frustrating because that's one of the things from '90s ones that should have died at some point.
I can understand keeping it in though.
There's a lot of them that do that, and you're just like, "This is."
I gotta admit, it's cool to see those. It's cool to see those 3D platformers kind of come back and get popular again. Voodoo Vince came back. Unbox is very much a 90s style platformer. What
Ginger from last year was pretty damn good.
And Plux was another one. It just seems like it's becoming a nice kind of a popular genre again, and I think it's pretty cool.
Have you seen Crash Bandicoot?
Oh man, that thing blew up.
Oh yeah.
The Crash Collection isn't it still one of the top sellers month to month now?
It's everywhere on YouTube and Twitch. Everyone's playing it.
I think even Activision was caught off guard. Oh my God, people want these old games that they loved as kids. Maybe we should keep doing this. Oh my God.
Sorry.
That was so loud. Eternal.
Oh, I thought I turned everything off.
Listen, Cole.
This is unprofessional, damn it.
Hi, my name's Eternal Rage, and I fuck things up on the podcast.
Hooray for vibration.
Some people are actually saying that.
So what kind of genres did you enjoy growing up that you would like to see get a comeback?
Oh, wow, that's a goodie. Well, the kind of genre that I enjoyed growing up are still coming out today. I played my share of Japanese RPGs, and I'm waiting the next Dragon Quest.
Hell yeah, I'm waiting for the next Dragon Quest. I can't wait for that one.
The turn-based strategy games as well, Jagged Alliance, that kind of stuff. Still today with XCOM 2. I'm pretty happy about that.
Are you planning to pick up Mario and Rabbids?
I might. The music that Grant Kirkhope that worked on Yooka-Laylee's music did the music for the Mario Rabbids game, right?
Oh, I didn't know he did the soundtrack of that. That's really cool.
Yeah, indeed. So I'm gonna talk to him and let him know that I will play this game as well. It definitely looks interesting. People were thinking that it was just a turn-based, game, and it's actually an adventure. So you're not going to be in an arena, right? It's not going to be like XCOM. You're going to progress through a level, right?
I think so. And then
But
the battles go into like XCOM style battles.
Yep.
Which I was really interested. There were so many rumors about that game before E3, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, this game's going to be terrible. I can't believe that they're going to take Mario and Rabbids and put them together." And then they showed the footage at E3, and everyone's like, "Holy shit, that looks really cool."
Oh, that's definitely a funny union that you were not expecting. And especially like for multiple reasons, right? French and Japan, Mario with like the rabbits, really. But it's and on that genre as well. No one was expecting that. But the team that works on the game is really, really professional. Out of Italy, I think it's Ubisoft Italy, and. I mean, you have to believe as well that if Miyamoto said yes to something to associate Mario with, there's a reason. I'm not a huge Nintendo fanboy, but I think that Shigeru Miyamoto knows what he's doing, and that Nintendo knows what he's doing as well with his licenses. So there was no way it would have been like a crappy game.
True. I was not expecting a turn-based strategy style game, and I think everyone was kind of expecting like an action adventure, maybe an action RPG, kind of in the lines of like maybe Paper Mario, something like that. I think the strategy elements kind of threw everyone off and made people take notice, and I think it's going to do really well. I'm excited for that one.
Well, original games right now, every game that is good or relatively good do well on Switch. Maybe the lack of games, has something to do with it, but it's definitely a place where good games find their public, right? It's not that's like PC, for instance. On Steam, you can have good games that are going to be like just in the ocean of games, and that I don't know, like 50 games comes out the same day, and you can miss a little gem, right? Well, on the Nintendo Switch, you release a good game, and it's going to be picked up, and it's going to have some success. Recently, a team from France reworked on a game that I loved growing up called Wonder Boy 3: A Dragon's Trap.
Mm.
And they did a remake, and it's super cool. It's beautiful, and I don't know. I don't think this one came out on Switch yet, but there's another team though that worked on a Ocean something that came on Switch, and they were top 1 seller or top 2 seller. I don't know, and that's pretty cool because it's a very interesting game.
Was that Oceanhorn?
Very good looking. Yeah, Oceanhorn.
That was a really cool game. I enjoyed that one. I love seeing stuff like that come to the Switch. It feels at home on a Nintendo platform, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and that's old school as well. It's a bit like Landstalker. Reminds us that era of maybe Solstice, Equinox. I don't know if you remember those games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I grew up with those. I'm older than CJ, and I think I'm older than you, Cole, aren't I? Or
She's
no,
gone.
she disappeared.
You're older than 2 of me combined, said.
I think so. Oh my god, I think I am.
How old are you?
36.
Oh no, you're not. Okay, that you'd have to
no,
be
because you're
38.
19 now.
Yeah.
You leveled up.
So close. If you asked me that question 2 weeks ago, that would be true.
Yeah, I was. You're catching up to me. You're going to get here, CJ. You're going to get to our age, and then you're going to...
And then I'll be talking about how I enjoyed my Xbox 360, and people will be like, what was that?
Yeah. So, Vince, what was your first console?
My first own console that I had for Christmas was a Sega Master System. But I've been playing before that on some friends' machines. So I don't know. The very first console might have been a Vectrex. The old one with the screen built in, where you had to change the filter to add some colors.
Crazy
remember
thing is,
that?
I have a Vectrex right next to me.
Nice.
I'm not even lying. Like, if people are watching the stream, I've got one sitting right next to my computer. There's a Vectrex on my shelf. I don't have any of the screen filters for it, and I only have like, what was it? One of I think Asteroids is built in, and then I have Scramble.
Asteroid was super cool.
So yeah, I love when people bring up a Vectrex and I can be like, I have one of those. It's not something people see often.
Definitely not. I don't know how many were made, but they might have been pretty expensive at the time as well. But it was, way before the home video game systems.
I have to imagine they couldn't be cheap because you're basically buying a game system and a TV in one.
Mm-hmm.
But it's neat. It's a really cool thing. Like, people will come by. It's like, what the hell is that thing? I'm like, oh, let me tell you about the Vectrex. It's so weird. It's such a cool thing. You mentioned your first system was a Master System. My first system that I personally owned was an NES. So were you a Sega boy growing up, or were you kind of like, oh?
Yeah, I never had an NES. It changed, though. It changed with the Super Nintendo.
You made the jump?
Yeah, well, I had a Genesis before, but or Mega Drive, as we called it in Europe at the time. But it's, I think I sold it to get the Super Nintendo to play Mario World. That was amazing, and I cried playing Zelda. I actually bought an adapter and a cartridge. I imported the cartridge from the US because it came out earlier than in France to play it as soon as I could. And Zelda 3, A Link to the Past, is like my best Zelda ever.
Nice. That's still to the day one of the best ones. Everyone loves Ocarina, but I think Link to the Past and Link's Awakening on Game Boy were the two best.
Mm.
So good.
See, I never got into those Nintendo 64 games, Zelda games. I don't know if it's the 3D that was a bit too rough, maybe for me, while the beauty of the 16-bit graphism was like so charming and perfect. It's just that I don't know. It's just I was never sold on any of the other ones that came out after that.
I know exactly how you feel. I felt the same way. The only 3D Zelda game I could ever get into was Wind Waker on the GameCube, like the cartoony one that everyone was like, oh, this one looks like a cartoon. I'm like, this one looks like a cartoon. It's beautiful. I love that one. And then after that, Breath of the Wild. Those are like the only ones.
I'm not there yet.
You haven't tried Breath of the Wild yet?
No, I will one day when I will have a Switch of my own, but I don't own a Nintendo Switch. I'm fooling around with a dev kit, but it's with it's about our own build and stuff. It's not to play the retail games.
No.
But maybe for Christmas I will get myself a Switch and play those games. I'm definitely looking forward, of course, Dragon Quest on the system. That would be a machine seller for me.
Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait for that one. Nikki Baby in chat saying that she had an Atari 2600 and a ColecoVision.
Ooh.
So that's some good
sold as
stuff.
well.
I'm trying to remember. I think my dad owned a ColecoVision with the Atari adapter, because a lot of people don't remember, like way back in the day, if you owned a ColecoVision, you could buy an adapter to plug into it to play Atari games. Or if you owned an Atari, you could buy an adapter to plug into it to play ColecoVision games. Like, that's unheard of now. That would be like buying an Xbox One and buying an adapter to play PS4 games on it. It's so crazy that they did that back in the day.
I wish that was the thing you could do. That would make life way easier. I wouldn't have to buy a PS4 just to play something like The Last of Us.
Yeah.
Well, they're talking about cross-platform playing now. More and more.
But PlayStation's ignoring that.
Yeah.
It's been switching to Xbox.
Yeah, well, have you seen that guy on YouTube that built a machine with both the Xbox One and the PS4 imbued?
Oh wow, really?
Yeah, look it up. It's pretty insane.
That's pretty. Was it Ben Heck by chance?
I don't remember.
Because I know Ben Heck, Ben Heckendorn or something like that. He does a lot of stuff like that where he'll, like, he used to like take a GameCube and just turn it into a portable system or just stuff like that. Really cool stuff. I know we've been chatting for close to an hour now. Was there anything else that you wanted to talk about? Or CJ, Cole, did you have any questions that you wanted to ask? I feel bad. I've been asking everything.
When's the next Worms coming out?
Oh, God. Well, have you played Worms WMD?
I have not yet. I actually plan on buying it this week. I actually plan on buying it this week because it's on sale on Xbox, like 50% off. So I'm like, all right.
Your next Worm already came out.
That's true, I suppose. I just love Worms, so like anytime, like I'm sad that I didn't buy it immediately. This last one, because normally like Battlegrounds, I was like, I'm jumping on that. Same with like Worms Revolution, except I think I played that on PC.
Well, people like die-hard fans of the Worms series have been saying that it's the best one since Armageddon. So it says a lot, I believe, on the quality of that game. They've been thinking a lot about what to do and where to go with the WMD, and it's definitely a comeback to the roots of the series. And I would just recommend it if you like Worms, and if you're looking for the actual Worms, that would be it. And the thing I can say about Worms and Team 17 is that as a developer and a publisher, Team 17 comes out with 3 DLCs for its games. I remember last December we had 3 DLCs, one for The Escapists, one for Overcooked, and one for Worms WMD that came out for free of charge. It was like Christmas for everybody. And that forced a date as well for Worms WMD. I mean, so you can get that game, and you'll be sure to have always new content, and people are creating their own levels and stuff. It's pretty like there's as far as of gaming time, like that you can play and replay value. Worms is pretty high.
Do you know if Team 17's plan on doing another kind of holiday DLC barrage like they did last year?
Maybe. I have.
I'm not sure if he's even allowed to say that.
Has that been announced yet?
I don't think anything's been announced yet. No.
No, I don't think so.
So I would have to say no.
You heard it here first. There isn't any. Wink,
yep,
wink.
Nothing is confirmed. Yeah, I'm definitely. I gotta piggyback off what you said about WMD. Is that I think it's one of the best Worm games that have been around in a long, long time. I also love the fact that the Xbox version had that All-Stars pack with Battletoad stuff and Perfect Dark and just a whole bunch of different other video game content thrown in there. Was there talk about doing that for other platforms as well, or what was it with the Xbox version to get that special bonus pack?
I think there's the All-Star version came out as well on PC and PS4, right?
Yeah, but I know Xbox had like a specific Xbox bonus content to it that I don't think other platforms got anything like that.
Oh, wow, that's very... Oh, you should have sent me the question before the podcast.
See, the problem with the show is I don't think of any of this stuff until we start talking about it. I've never pre-written questions. It's just you mentioned Worms and it kind of popped into my head. Yeah, I'm trying to remember what all the content was in there.
All-Star pack here on PS4. I don't remember having exclusives per consoles, you know what I mean?
Here it is. Rare All-Stars pack. Unleash the devastating Joanna Dark from Perfect Dark on your enemies, along with Mask Set from Blast Core, Jet Force Gemini, Jetpack, Killer Instinct, and Battletoads.
Okay, so that's not the all-star pack then. That's
the rare
special rare pack. Oh.
Yeah. And I don't think PlayStation had any kind of PlayStation exclusive items or anything like that either. So I was wondering like how that came to be with the rare pack being in Worms WMD.
That's a very good question.
Does not have an
One
answer.
that you don't have an answer to.
No, well, definitely not. Well, when someone starts answering, saying that's a good question, usually they don't have an answer. They're trying to make things up. But I will ask the team and come back to you on that.
Now, I loved how the All-Stars pack like added stuff from Rocket League, the Escapists, Saints Row, Orcs Must Die, Payday. It was so cool to see all that stuff from other games making appearances in Worms. I love cross-game, just like mashups and crossovers and stuff like that. So that was really cool to see.
Yeah, just like Shovel Knights did an apparition in Yooka-Laylee.
Yeah. That was really cool too. I love it. I love crossovers. It needs to happen more. I'm curious if Worms ever shows up on the Switch, would there be any possibility of a Nintendo All-Stars pack to show up in there?
Oh God. Wow.
That's also a good question.
I don't want to be the person who deal with who deal with the authorizations and oh my God, that's an IP management nightmare, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's like month and month of back and forth with the IP owners.
I think that'd be cool though. I think that'd be a fun twist.
It's just that red light going off in his head, like too much work, too much work, too much work.
You mean on
We
top
need
of
to we need an emergency button for guests being interviewed on the show for when we're asking uncomfortable questions.
Yeah, just be like, all right, press the button. All right, it's done streaming.
It's the shut the fuck up button. Like, don't ask this question.
Yeah.
We're gonna reverse time and fucking use one of those Men in Black sticks to blank all your minds.
There you go.
Will there be any No, I'm asking a question now, Joe.
That's
I'm
why I
asking
stopped, so you could talk.
Will there be any Team 17 games that see enhancements for the Xbox One X?
That's a very good question.
That is a good question. I agree.
I'm actually receiving my share of questions asking about the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One S. And at this very point in time, I know that the way Team 17 and its partners are developing the game, they're focusing to make the game as good as possible on every platform. And usually, it's for it to be good on the actual system. So let's say the Xbox One. Well, it's just going to be a transposition on the Xbox One S. Now I know that definitely once the game is done, if there's place for improvements, it will be definitely. People are going to think about it, and why not go that way and add some more features that are exclusive to those systems. So, of course, frame rates or resolution.
That's a good answer. Even if you had to bullshit it on the spot, it was a good answer. I'll give you that.
I'm a PR. That's what I do. I bullshit all the time.
Exactly. That's why you're in the job that you are.
I like to think about the job that I'm doing. I like to define myself as an honest PR, which means that I try to bullshit the less amount of possible and close to zero, right? Because this is something that you don't want in that kind of position, that kind of job. You don't want to lie because it's always coming right back to you if you lie.
Yeah,
so
like the No Man's Sky team.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Funny enough, that I don't think that they never lied. Look at
no
it.
multiplayer.
Oh, okay. Well, it is now. Okay.
Nah,
A
okay.
year
They should've said
later.
there'll be multiplayer in a year.
At launch. Okay.
They
It was a
wouldn't apply.
deferred fib.
But I've been following that from the beginning, of course, because all the noise around it, and I was interested by the game. Very exciting. It's and I've been watching interviews that he gave when that all shit blew up at launch, and so many people were disappointed. And I watched interviews, and all in his interviews were like, "Well, there's going to be this, there's going to be that. You can do this and that." Like, yeah, it's true. It's lacking depth right now. I'm not enjoying the game that much, but he's not lying. Look at all the interviews.
Maybe they should have released it in early access.
Maybe.
I honestly think if No Man's Sky released as an early access or a game preview game or something like that, where they were clear that the game wasn't finished and they'd be adding stuff, it wouldn't have gotten nearly as much backlash as it did. That's
Possibly.
my thought. I don't know.
That's a
I
possibility.
don't know, because people lay into game preview too, though. Like, I hear people, I requested a refund for Dead by Daylight. And I'm like, but it wasn't even an hour old, and it was game preview. And wasn't it Dead by Daylight, or was it Friday the 13th? One of those. Either one.
Well,
they're
neither of
pretty-
those
Neither of
were
those are game preview.
Yeah.
they
Neither of
not?
those were. No.
Not on Xbox. No, those are
the
full.
culling. The culling.
Oh, yeah.
that one game preview. They're all, I don't know. They're all interchangeable at this
Yeah,
point.
well, some people are stupid.
The culling and Dead by Daylight are nothing alike. What are you talking about?
I haven't played the culling. I just assume it's kill people and be done with it. I don't know.
So
I'm like the worst gamer ever.
So last question that I have is, has there been any new news or updates on Deadwood the Forgotten Curse?
No. No, I can say I have seen anything about it. I can ask, but no, I think it's somewhere in the woods right now. The way Team306 as a publisher, as a games label, works with his independent studios is very an hands-off approach. So they develop the game at their own pace and stuff, and Team306 helps them, support them with both like programming, developments, and as well, of course, marketing and sales. It's so no, I have no news on that game at all.
Which I think that's the right way to do it. You know, we're going to sign a deal. You guys make the game how you want to make it. We'll help you release it. Other than that, we're going to leave you the fuck alone to make what you want to make. And I think that's the right way for publishers to do it.
Well, I don't want to, of course, like it's a little bit, it's adding some publicity here because I work, of course, for that company. So it's, but it's the difference between, I guess, a games label and being a publisher. There's really that respect and that hands-off approach. And Debbie's the CEO of Team306 has been always saying that she wants to help indie developers to bring their game to market and build sustainable businesses. So with all that it implies, that's pretty much the philosophy behind the games label.
Which sounds like it. That's the way it should be. Just, as long as everyone can play stuff, right?
As long as everyone's happy.
Indeed. It's all about the games, not about the backstage politics and the deals and everything. It's just about playing the games.
It's all about games because, remember, this is an industry of passion.
Very true. So anybody else have any questions?
I think he's covered my one very important question quite well.
I had my good one. I'm done.
Cool.
Yeah.
So
She's a one and done kind of person.
I don't see any reason to overcomplicate shit.
again, another good way to do it. Just simple and easy. Well, Vincent, I thank you so much for joining us and taking an hour out of your night to come bullshit with us for a while, since you are a professional bullshitter.
Honest bullshitter.
We will let you go to enjoy the rest of your night. Is there any final words that you have to sum things up?
Oh God, not really. I really appreciate you guys, the time I spent with you. I would like to do that another time, and talk more about our passion and maybe, what games genre you like and why, and what are you expecting for the next few years. Where do you think the video games industry is going to go? That kind of stuff. Like talk about it for the sake of talking, because that's definitely an interesting subject. Thank you so much for having me. I'm looking forward for just sending you more information about the games that Team 17's they're developing or publishing under the games label, and send you codes and waiting to hear your feedback.
I appreciate it. We will continue to cover Team 17 games on the show as long as you will allow us to. Please definitely come back. Maybe after PAX West, we could get you back on to chat about how things went there and any kind of new news that came out about stuff.
Sure thing.
Well, thank you again for joining us, and have yourself a good night.
Thank you for having me. Have a nice evening. Bye-bye, guys.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So, moving on, we got a bunch of news to talk about. We should probably just jump into that stuff right away, huh?
I suppose so.
That's all, just, I guess.
I said I suppose so. It's better than I guess.
Nothing from Eternal? You're just gonna...
I'm just here for the ride.
Come on, get more perky.
Wake up, people.
If I get any perkier, I'm gonna spontaneously combust.
Well, at least that would be entertaining for the show.
It would.
True.
All right, let's dive in.
I've been up since 6 o'clock. You gotta give me a little slack. Sorry, I interrupted you.
Let's dive into the news. We'll try to bust through the news quick. 3 new backward compatibility additions to the Xbox One this week. Tuesday, we got both the 360 version of Scream Ride and then Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance. So that was a pretty nice 2-pack of games. And then on Thursday, we got Battlefield Bad Company 1.
I'm pretty happy about that one.
Mm-hmm.
So 3 solid retail games. From what I could tell, Battlefield didn't go up in price yet at GameStop, but it seems like they haven't been doing same-day price changes. It seems like they've been waiting at least until the next day. I think their midday price changes have been pissing people off. But
yeah, maybe.
Scream Ride and Metal Gear both jumped in price $10. Scream Ride from 10 to 20, Metal Gear from 5 to 15. So I expect Battlefield Bad Company to jump up as well, but
how much is that right now on GameStop?
$5.
All right, so it'll probably jump up to 15.
So it might. We don't know. There's been a handful of games that haven't jumped up in price, but
maybe. And it is old enough that it might not.
I don't expect it to stay $5. That's just my thoughts on it. Just today, apparently, Microsoft put up for pre-order the Recore Definitive Edition. So all the rumors look like it's true. The game is happening. It's up for pre-order on the Microsoft Store, set to release August 29th. So it's right around the corner. It includes the new Eye of Obsidian adventure, as well as the T8NK bot frame. And it's apparently only going to be $20.
Holy shit, Recore's cheap as shit now.
Yeah, no word on if there's going to be any kind of free upgrade for existing owners, especially since that extra bot was like advertised to be in the game. that'd be shitty if they don't.
Yeah, I do have
Recore. They were
Recore.
pretty adamant about originally that the tank bot was going to be a free update.
Yeah, I hope so.
Maybe that'll be a part of the update, and then the new story will be like a DLC that costs a little bit of money. Maybe.
It's not all sunshine and roses for Xbox, though, I think the biggest news of the week, Crackdown 3 is delayed from the Xbox One X launch to spring 2018, which means that the big, quote, launch title for the Xbox One X is Super Lucky's Tale.
Jesus, that does not bode well.
Yeah, their big retail launch game is a $30 platform adventure. I mean, they have Cuphead as well, but again, like Crackdown was that was their big holiday title for the X.
No, Forza. Didn't Forza come out?
But Forza releases before then.
Yeah. The whole
And
thing was
Shadow
it
War,
was supposed
that
to
was another
release. Yeah, but that's not an
Simultaneously.
exclusive either.
What do you mean?
Well, she said Shadow of War, but that's not
yeah.
actually an exclusive. It's just Xbox got advertising
Yeah.
rights.
Yeah, and I don't know.
That does not bode well.
What the fuck is going on with Microsoft, really? It seems like they're more focused on making shitty dashboard redesigns than making fucking games at this point, and it's getting stupid. Like
They needed to put more effort into having more than just one big launch title. Like, if you're gonna have one big one, at least make sure it's actually gonna launch on time too.
I mean, I can understand Phil Spencer not wanting to waste money on buying timed exclusives or just outright buying exclusives and shit like that. Fucking invest in the first party. Open up new studios. Or buy new indie studios to make in-house games. They need to have more games. And then they make such a big deal about having like this parity between the Xbox and Windows 10, yet Age of Empires will not be on the Xbox One, but it will be on Windows 10. If they're going to take every game from Xbox and throw it on PC, why are they going to keep some games only on PC? It just seems like
kind of ruins the point. Like the Xbox One, I mean, I like the idea that we're incorporating PC more, but we need to keep actual exclusives on Xbox too, or there's no point in owning the system.
I think they need to reinvest in first parties. They need to go back to the days of the original Xbox and the early 360 games where they would come out with a dozen first party games a year instead of 3.
And one of them is always Forza. I mean, don't get me wrong, Forza's good, but come on. We can't have the same exact thing come out every year.
I'm just getting very frustrated, and especially with that new dashboard design that they're putting more focus on being social and looking for groups and suggested clubs and suggested friends. How about suggesting some new fucking games? How about that? Make new games. Reboot some of your old properties. You did a remaster of Voodoo Vince. How about we get a new Voodoo Vince? You're going to give us original Xbox backward compatibility with Fusion Frenzy and Crimson Skies. How about you reboot the fucking franchises and make new games? We can't just keep getting the same Forza game every year or every other year because it's Forza and then a Horizon. I love them, but we need more. We need more. I don't give a fuck if they're going to be on PC as well. We just need more games. Instead of, making a time deal to get Tomb Raider exclusive for a year, how about you give Square some money to port some of their RPGs over? Where's Nier Automata? Where's the early Kingdom Hearts games? If we're getting Kingdom Hearts 3, shouldn't we have 1 and 2 as well to catch up on the story? How about we get Final Fantasy 12 on the system? It's getting so frustrating being an Xbox fan.
Yeah, I'm honestly starting to question even buying the X at launch. I might hold off because at this point, what I really wanted anyway was Sea of Thieves, but I was going to consider getting Crackdown 3 just to have something at launch.
I was so pumped for Crackdown 3 and it got delayed. And I'm still reeling from fucking Scalebound. I want Scalebound.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if Crackdown's problem wasn't that everybody gave its graphics such shit. They really laid into it hard.
I mean, it didn't look great.
Kind of
if that's what it is, where they heard the feedback from E3 and they're like, well, it's not what our fans want. Maybe we should delay it and put some more work into it. My concern is that it doesn't get canceled outright. What happens if March rolls along and they're like, well, we reviewed Crackdown internally and we feel that it's not right to proceed with it. Like, this was something they advertised at launch for the system.
Yeah.
Yeah. At this point, they can't get rid of it unless they just want everybody to not buy Xbox anymore and just go to PlayStation.
I honestly think if they cancel Crackdown 3, that might be the death of the system.
Yeah. I can completely agree with that.
I think people are just losing so much faith in the console at this point, and I hate it because it's not like there's a lack of games on the system. We know there's like 1,500 games available to play on the system, probably more because I'm bad at math. But they're missing those big tentpole titles that you can only find console-wise on the system. And I'm not saying that they need to go out and buy exclusivity rights for third-party games. I don't like that practice. Third-party games should be everywhere. But they need to invest in first party. It needs to happen. And it can't just be Halo, Gears, and Forza. They need more.
Yeah. Those series have been done to death anyway. Come up with a new one. Just make a new IP.
Well, they did, and people got mad at those too.
Sunset Overdrive was one of the best games to ever come out. And
yeah, but
we have
Quantum
no
Break
news on
got
a second.
Slammed, and everybody was hateful about it, and Recore's been, slammed. And so I think they're kind of lose-lose, because they try to come up with new IPs, and they try to support new games, and then it just gets thrown back in their face. Well, it's not Halo, or it's not. Why didn't it have whatever Halo had?
When they land with something good, they need to continue working on it. They can't just be like, oh, well, that was a one-time thing.
I think the complaints people had with Recore and Quantum Break were justified, but I also think, as done to death as there is, that there's just a general anti-Xbox bias out there where a game comes out that is nothing different on Xbox, or it has like repetitive gameplay issues near the end of the game like Recore did, and they'll dock them point after point after point, where if there's a game that comes out on PlayStation that it's just like, oh, well, it's more of the same and it gets repetitive, 9 out of 10. And I don't, it just seems like so many sites still have this hard-on against taking down Microsoft and Xbox for some reason. I don't understand it. Even general public, they'll be like, oh, well, can I even play used games on an Xbox One? Motherfucker, that was, 4 years ago?
Yeah.
That issue was cleared up? Of people like, oh, can you play used games on an Xbox One? Yes, you dumb asshole, you can.
I still see the posts of like, is it DRM free? Do you have to log in once a day on Xbox Live in order to use the system? It's like, those things haven't been in a case forever. Like,
for literally 4 years now, and people still just, I don't know. It's ridiculous, and I hope Xbox can turn it around, because if they don't, things are getting dire. It really is.
Yeah.
And like, even with some of the features that they've been removing from the system with their new updates, you can't scan a QR code to redeem a code anymore.
Really?
Sonic Mania.
They're completely throwing away the Kinect at this point.
Sonic Mania came with a QR code, and I was like, Xbox, redeem a code. And it booted up, and there was no camera. I couldn't use my code. I had to input it by hand, which, that's a lot of work for me. I'm so lazy.
Does the Xbox app do that still?
Will it take a picture? I don't think so. I have no idea. Delirious Blaze asking me to speak up. Am I too quiet?
No, to me you sound fine.
Yeah.
I don't. Did you try boosting the volume on Mixer? Or your computer? I know. No, I don't know anything.
Well, nobody else has said anything. And
turn it off and turn it on again.
I don't think anyone has ever said anything about me being too quiet on this show. So I don't know. If it's too quiet, I apologize. I don't know. Raider Biz saying people are screaming for more announcements from Xbox. No people realize Gamescom is coming this Sunday. Announcements will be made there. The only announcement that I know happening on Sunday is apparently pre-orders for the X are going to open on Sunday.
Yep.
That's the current word. So,
which means we'll get another achievement.
Day one achievement.
The most pointless achievement ever.
Anyway, moving on, some other news. There are rumors that Okami is getting another HD re-release for the holiday season on PS4 and finally making its debut on Xbox One. There's been no confirmation from Capcom yet, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Okami get another release, and I'd be excited as shit to pick that up.
Awesome.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, no, it don't mean a whole lot.
Okami was a PS2 game, and then it got re-released on the Wii, and then it got an HD re-release on the PS3. Speak up, you sound like a raped 10-year-old. Yeah, that sounds like someone ban.
Yep.
Ban. Enter.
I did it at the same time you did.
Nice. Good stuff.
You just bleep that out.
Oh, no, that's staying in.
Okay.
Here's some big news. Sony has unleashed PS4 firmware 5.0 to beta users today, including such amazing new features as friend list management and family account settings and notification updates and tournament brackets and a whole lot of nothing. So
a whole lot of sounds what it was already on Xbox.
We might shit on Microsoft for the horrible new dashboard that they put out, but at least they're trying.
Nah, you know what? No, I'm not gonna. I'd actually rather have the PlayStation update where it's just like they didn't ruin anything with the update. Whatever. I'll take it. I'll take it over moving the system.
A 5.0 update sounds like it should be like some landmark new features. Like their last huge update was the one that added external hard drive support, which cool, finally. And now you can have family account settings and you can leave multiple conversations at once. Yay.
Oh, well, I prefer that over ruining the system.
True. And then there have been a lot more reports of warped Nintendo Switch systems.
I've heard about that.
Some people have been claiming that it was from being in the dock. Others have said that they've only used it handheld. But both parties can agree that their system is visibly bent.
That's weird.
Yeah,
wow.
there's pictures online of it, like, very clearly bent. Mine isn't bent yet. I don't have any kind of problems that I can notice, at least. But many of the photos I've seen online, it looks like the bend is happening. I'll try showing it off on the camera a little bit. The vent in the top, it looks like that's where a lot of the bend is occurring. So I wonder if it's an issue with too much heat from the system that is warping it. And it would kind of make sense if it's happening for the people with docked systems, since it uses more horsepower and gets hotter in docked mode. But
maybe.
Either way, that's kind of crazy. Bending systems, yay. Anyone else have any news?
I mean, no, not really. Not any gaming news.
Well, I guess we could talk about the other news. Show's probably going to be undergoing some changes in a couple of weeks. CJ, you're quitting, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm leaving the show at the end of August.
So, why?
I've been really busy lately. Like, I feel bad because I don't have a lot of time to put into the review games, and I feel like I've been giving more half-assed reviews than I should be lately. Like, I feel bad for the developers. They deserve to get more time put into their games and more effort, and for somebody that cares more about the games to be talking about them. So I feel like reviewing has just kind of gone away from me with the amount of time I have now, and also just the overall enjoyment of reviewing a game is kind of gone. So I don't want to keep taking codes when I'm not enjoying using them anyway.
You could have just been like, well, college is coming up, and
no,
I have to focus on that.
Yeah, I'll be real. I'm not enjoying.
Well, my band is doing a lot more shows lately, and I promise I plan on coming back when I can.
Oh, see, here's the thing. I don't promise on coming back as like a person who wants to come back a lot, but I do want to periodically say hello, hang out with Joe and whoever is here when I'm gone.
And then it comes down to whether or not I want your ass back.
That's true. Well, that's true. I mean, if you don't, that's okay with me.
I will say, I appreciate the fact that you're telling me ahead of time instead of like 3 days before the show. Of like, this is my last one.
I wanted to give him basically put in like my 2 weeks for a job. So at the end of August, I'm leaving the show.
And I'm going to warn you, your last episode, Norg is probably going to tear your ass up in the intro.
That's fine.
Because that's what he does. And I'm excited for that one. But as for a co-host going forward, I don't know what I'm going to do. Eternal, I'm probably going to have you come on a couple of times a month, or might have Purnell come on. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know if I'm going to look for a permanent co-host or if I'm just going to have like a rotating gang of the usuals come on and keep me company until they quit too.
Either way, I mean, I remember last year when I was saying I don't see myself quitting for a long ass time, and now it's like it drains you, man, dude. I don't know how Joe's kept up with it, but I'm glad he has, because he's made a good show. Like,
you fucking liar.
I'm gonna start. It's not a bad show. I mean, you just had a person from Team 17 on here. I mean, you're doing good for yourself.
But not to worry.
Watching the show again.
The show's not going anywhere. I'm going to keep this up. I have too many people coming on and too much stuff to review to quit now. Plus, we all know I'm the actual only star of this motherfucker anyways.
That's true.
Anyway, enough of the depressing shit. I was going to save that till the end of the show, but since you mentioned it, figured we'd address it. But we have a giveaway to do.
Me too. Time to go from sad to glad.
Well, glad for a couple of people, sad for the rest of them.
That's nobody likes CJ anyway.
True.
No, I'm sorry. I feel bad for that.
Fuck that piece of
I don't even like CJ.
Piece of shit asshole. So anyway, we have a whopping 5 copies of Super Cloudbuilt to give away, thanks to Double 11 and Coilworks, and we have 9 entries. So we got a couple of emails to go through, and we asked you to tell us about your favorite cel-shaded game. Since Super Cloudbuilt has that awesome cel-shaded look to it, we asked you to email us about your favorite cel-shaded game. And first emails from our good friend BX Latino Heat, who says, "Good evening to the SML podcast. My favorite all-time cel-shaded game would have to be Jet Set Radio Future. I received this game as a bundle with another racing game called Project Gotham Racing back in 2002. This Xbox being my first console given to me by my parents for my birthday was a blessing. At that time, I was a subway graffiti writer, painting murals on the New York City subway at the time, which was illegal, but upon receiving this video game, it actually prevented me from being arrested for vandalism. My parents found a way to keep me off the streets in the form of an Xbox. Once I opened my very first game that I actually played was Jet Set Radio Future, which contained the very essence of my love for graffiti, this game giving me the advantage of rollerblading, spray painting Tokyo, and being part of a spray painting vandalism group and taking down police in the game was exactly what I was doing as a child. I spent countless hours playing this game, avoiding trouble. With the realization made my parents happy and grew to love gaming. I must honestly say this was not only my all-time favorite game, it kept me out of trouble. I still own the Xbox in mint condition and both games in that bundle. Thanks so much for the opportunity." So, Jet Set Radio Future. Good game, by the way. Solid entry to kick things off.
Latino had a hell of a childhood.
And a hell of a run-on sentence.
Yeah. I was going to try to be nice.
Latino, I love your entries. You got to use more punctuation. I never know when the breaks in your sentences are. Next email's from Daniel N, who says, "My favorite cel-shaded game is Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 3. This was the definitive DBZ game that had cel-shaded graphics that matched the anime. I got many blisters charging up and launching the Spirit Bomb. Share your energy with me." So Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3.
Yeah, no, I just put Dragon Ball Z some shit.
Dragon Ball Z some shit. Next email's from Oroto Demedo, who says, "Favorite cel-shaded game? That's an easy one. There's not many video game towns out there I wish I could live in, especially with the amount of military zones in every fucking game nowadays. Yuck. But games like Mirror's Edge, Sunset Overdrive, and Transistor have such an impact on you that you can't help but wish you lived there. I'm sure Mirror's Edge has a fucked up government that watches your every move, but I think I'd be okay with letting them watch me masturbate if that means I get to live in such a clean and pretty city. Even the fucking sewers are pristine. Can't hate that. And speaking of beautiful game cities I wish I lived in, comes my favorite cel-shaded game, that being none other than the graffiti crazy... Any guesses?
Jet Set Radio.
Jet Set Radio.
Mark Echo, get up.
What?
Okay.
Yes. Just kidding, that game is trash. I'm actually talking about Jet Set Radio. Not Future.
I thought so.
Not Future, because Future throws away that beautiful art style for something else. I'm talking about the OG one, when things were simpler and all you did was customize a spray to say poop and then spray it on the cop's car and run away from the police. That game had a beautiful cell shade that I'm in love with to this day. When you go to the poor areas, it's still pretty, but mostly the first few areas are the ones that hit me the hardest. It's kind of like San Francisco without the hobos. You just don't see many games like that often enough. And another great thing about cell shading, it protects a game from looking dated even when it is. To a point, of course. Shit is still shit, even if it's cell shaded shit. Lots of shit talking in my recent emails. I think I have a fetish. I problem. Fucking Mark Echo.
What was the name of the person that put this in? I did not write it down.
Oroto.
Oh, okay, that makes a lot of sense.
So yeah, Jet Set Radio, or Jet Grind Radio, if you want to be technical about it, since that was the name in America.
It was until the re-release.
Carnage saying everyone deserves a copy. Well, if I had 9 copies, that'd be one thing, but I don't. Next email is from Eric Trill, who says, my favorite cel-shaded game has to be The Legend of Zelda, The Wind Waker. I was in the minority when it was first announced, and the fact that I was really excited for it. It ended up being a day one purchase for me for my GameCube. I absolutely love the story and gameplay for it. It introduced Toon Leek, who is one of the characters I main with in Smash Brothers. I love The Wind Waker so much, I also have it for the Wii U. Also, honorable mentions for Okami, Jet Set Radio, and the Beautiful Joe games. Love these games too, but I'm a huge fan of the Zelda series, so The Wind Waker is my favorite. Thanks for the opportunity. Keep up the great work. Wind Waker, fuck yeah, we just talked about that one earlier.
I was about to say, I have deja vu.
Next email from Francesco Doral, who says D4 Dark Dreams Don't Die is incredible. It's another Swery creation, and the only game that actually works with the Kinect. Plus, the art design uses one of the best looking cell shaded techniques I've ever seen. That's I gotta give credit. That is a really unique entry.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It's like, I did not expect that. I expected mostly Jet Set Radio.
Yeah. So props on that one. Next up is Rob Mertens, who says, hello, my favorite cel-shaded game of the century is Catherine. I love this crazy game. Thanks for the chance to win and for your great work.
Oh.
So, Catherine.
Also unique.
I like seeing the games that we don't hear often.
Yeah.
Latino, I actually own the Mark Echo graffiti game in mint condition. Do you have the collector's edition, though? That's the question. Because they had a collector's edition of Mark Echo's Getting Up. Next is from, Jordan Phipps. Haven't heard from Jordan in a while. He must be eager for this one. Hello, SML Podcast. My favorite cel-shaded game of all time is the original Valkyria Chronicles. I was always hoping it or the remastered version would come to the Xbox someday. Unfortunately, the best thing we got was the disaster known as Valkyria Revolution that will soon be under $10 on Amazon. If you're listening, Sega, it's not too late to bring over all the games to Xbox. Very true. I was really hoping that Valkyria Revolution would be a lot better. Next email is from Rafael Faria, who says the Naruto Ninja Storm series for Xbox or Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi series for PS2. So Naruto Ninja Storm / DBZ Budokai. Crazy anime fighter fans.
Yeah, no, I'm like, why?
Last email is from Nikki Baby, making a return to our contest. I'm not sure if she's still hanging out in the chat or not, but I'm going to go with Tales of Vesperia, which I played on Xbox 360, which had an art style influenced by cel-shaded animation. So not sure if that counts, but fudge it. LOL. Oh, god damn it. That game rocks, and it was one of the first games I played when I got my 360, and I didn't finish it for years. Thanks for the chance, as always.
So we're disqualifying her for using that, aren't we?
So we have Latino Heat, who had his run-on sentence about graffiti with Jet Set Radio Future. Daniel N., who said Budokai 3. Oroto, who wants to masturbate in the city of Mirror's Edge, but really likes Jet Grind Radio. Eric Trill with Wind Waker. Francesco with D4. Robert Mertens with Catherine. Jordan with Valkyria Chronicles. Raphael with Naruto Ninja Storm and DBZ. And then Nikki Baby with Tales of Vesperia. We got 5 winners, 9 people. We got to figure this out.
I like Latino's whole backstory.
Okay, you both talked at the same time. So I heard CJ say he liked Latinos.
Yeah, he gave a lot of backstory. I like that.
Yeah, Latino gets a thumbs up too.
Cool. So we're going with Latino. That's one. We have 4 more. Are we going to go with creativity in emails or best games suggested?
I'm downvoting all of the Dragon Ball Z ones immediately.
Same. I hate Dragon Ball Z. Absolutely hate it.
I have I have an aversion. That's the word I'm looking for. That's a fun story.
I kind of want to give a win to Francesco for tossing out D4.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
Because that's such a unique game to mention. I mean, granted, it's not the only one that uses a Kinect, but it works really well with Kinect. Nikki Baby apologizing. I'm rusty with the LOL. I kind of want to give her one because I'm a huge fan of Vesperia. I still think it's one of the best Tales games ever made.
All right, I'm down with that.
Go for it.
Okay, so there's 3 winners. We got 2 more.
Well, we should do a throwback to the what we were talking about earlier with Eric.
Eric in Wind Waker?
Yeah.
I'm fine with that one. So we have 1 more, and it comes down to Oroto with Jet Grind Radio, Robert Mertens with Catherine, and Jordan with Valkyria Chronicles.
Ooh, which is the best game out of that?
Oh, man. They're all really good games. I think Oroto had the funniest email, but the lesser of the games of the 3. What are your thoughts? Any opinions?
I'm leaning towards Catherine because I know a little bit more about that game than I do Valkyria.
Cole, thoughts?
Yeah, I'm leaning towards Catherine too because I'm not familiar with the others.
Hey, it works for me. So, Latino Heat, Eric Trill, Francesco Doral, Robert Mertens, and Nikki Baby. All of y'all are getting some motherfucking Super Cloudbuilt. Thanks again to Coilworks and to Double 11 for letting us do that. Always good doing giveaways.
I'm surprised nobody... Didn't there one on Xbox's Cell Damage HD or something like that?
Yeah, but...
And nobody mentioned that.
Well, that's not a very popular game.
It's fun, though. It was cool.
Would you classify Borderlands as cel-shaded?
Yeah.
Yeah, then that would... Why wasn't that there? That would have easily topped everything. I would have been like, you're immediately a winner.
But, oh well, what are you going to do? Shit happens.
Yes, you're not going to win if you don't put in a good answer. AKA the Dragon Ball Z people.
Next time, stay away from Dragon Ball Z.
Dear entrant, sorry you didn't win. My co-hosts hate Dragon Ball. So, hey, I got outvoted on that one. I didn't really have a say. 2-1. So even if I liked it, unfortunately, that's how the cookie crumbles on SML. No random draws on our contest. If you want a random drawing, check out our Twitter and enter our Gleam contests. We actually have a really solid Gleam contest going on right now as well. We are doing a 2-pack of both Cyber Complex and Steel Rain X from Polarity Flow. So you can enter to win both of those games, and even better, 2 winners. So check out our Twitters at the SML Podcast and look for the link to that, and enter and try and win. Good stuff. Anyway, y'all ready for some reviews?
Nope.
Good, because the first game to talk about tonight is called Agents of Mayhem. Yes, I don't know how, but our show's cool enough to review Agents of Mayhem. Developed by Volition, published by Deep Silver, released August 15th on Xbox One, PS4, and Steam for $59.99. In Agents of Mayhem, you run a no-holds-barred operation against a shadowy supervillain organization known only as Legion and their mysterious leader, the Morning Star. Follow the global attacks on Devil's Night. Cities of the world are held by Legion's ministries, bands of powerful villains named for the 7 deadly sins. You play as a variety of super agents, each with their own distinct look, personality, weapons, and skills. Explore the city of Seoul in Korea to rout out Legion operatives and their vile plans to take over the world. This game, I think a lot of people are going to complain that it's not Saints Row, but it's not supposed to be Saints Row. It does take place in the same universe, but this is very much not a Saints Row game. Right off the bat,
that's actually the opposite of what I've heard from like Shiz, who's been playing the hell of it on stream, saying that it's basically Saints Row 5.
I really don't think it is. I think the Saints Row games played more of like a third-person action game with emphasis on like superpowers and melee combat. And
that was only really true through 4, but yeah.
And the shooting in those games was never like super fleshed out and polished shooting. It was more of just like GTA shooting. I think the earlier Saints Row games, even up to like 4 and Get Out of Hell, they played more like a GTA game. Where I think Agents of Mayhem, gameplay wise, plays more of like a hero shooter, like a Paladins or Overwatch. It feels gunplay wise the same as those. This is very much a shooter first in my eyes. You start off with 3 different agents. You go through the tutorial mission, and then after that, it kind of turns into the open world Saints Row-ish, where you can explore the city. You can tackle side quests and side objectives like freeing hostages or collecting cars and unlocking different outposts that you could claim to show the area around and show what activities are going on. But then, of course, there are the standard missions that you go through to proceed with the story. And they also have the missions where you can unlock other agents. There are, I believe it's 9 agents in the finished game. There is a DLC one called Lazarus releasing, I believe, in a month-ish, which was a pre-order bonus. And then if you got it at GameStop, you can get motherfucking Johnny Gat, which I'm very happy I kept my GameStop pre-order so I could get Johnny Gat.
Yeah. I'm definitely a little bit disappointed that it was a pre-order bonus only, but
I believe it's going to be made available to buy or to get eventually, probably in a month or 2. I can't imagine they would keep it as a permanent GameStop exclusive, especially with how heavily they promoted it. Gameplay wise, like I said, it's very much a shooter game first. Unlike Saints Row, you don't have a ton of different abilities. Each of the different agents has one specific weapon. Like one guy might have a machine gun, someone else might have a shotgun, someone might have handguns, but it's not like you can change your weapons. You're able to change your agents. Anytime you go out, you're able to have 3 agents that you could switch between using the D-pad, whether you need to use their weapon or their abilities, or even when you're exploring the city, each of the agents has different climbing mechanics that they could use. Someone might like scurry along a wall to give you some extra boost. Someone might for example, Gat will dig a knife into the wall and kind of fling himself up to get kind of an extra jump. Everyone has 3 jumps, and then that extra ability on a wall that could try to help you out sometimes. Some don't have anything at all to help you with the jumping, so even when you're going out just to explore, you want to make sure you have a decent lineup of agents to help you climb buildings and climb around the city. And there's a lot of exploration to do in this game. Fairly large city. There's not much in the way of fast travel. You could eventually unlock a different, I think up to 4 other warp points. So you could have 5 warp points in the city that when you go to your base, you can pick one of those to exit to and to deploy to. Combat-wise, like I said, it's very much a shooter first. Everyone has one extra special ability that they could use, and they have an ultimate ability. Hollywood, the main military style guy, like he'll get extra ammo that does extra damage and explosions going all around him. Someone else, you can hit the buttons and he'll just start, he'll drop a boombox and everyone will start dancing around it, which is hilarious. Johnny Gats, I really enjoyed his. His normal weapon is a shotgun, but when you use his ability, he kind of plants himself in place and uses handguns, and the game will automatically lock onto targets, and you just mash the trigger to start shooting enemies, and it just bounces around from enemy to enemy for so many seconds. So some of those abilities, I'll admit, they can be fairly overpowered. If you save up your mayhem ability and deploy it like right when a boss drops down, you can wreck him in seconds. Which,
that's not surprising. At least as far as the Saints Row games go, they were never really known for their difficulty.
True, very true. There are a number of different difficulty options in the game. Anytime that you're in the Ark, which is your main hub, when you deploy, you're able to select what difficulty level you want. I think there's like 12 to 16. I don't remember. I didn't go up all the way. As you play through the game and level up, it will automatically start raising your difficulty level, but you can adjust it based on, if you're using 3 certain agents for a while and then you get a new one, he'll be level 1. So you'll want to probably adjust the difficulty to make up for that. But the higher your level, the more experience and money that you can get. There's tons of different side quests that you could do in the game. There are Legion bases that you can infiltrate and try to complete. There are core shards that you can collect around the map that you can use to give your agents extra abilities, or when you hit level 20, you can use the shards to boost their level up even more, up to level 40. I will say the game will get repetitive. I think that's been one of the downfalls of the genre in general. But with this one, like the Legion hideouts that you could go through, they're very much the same. Like, it's go through a room, kill everyone, go through a room, kill everyone. But I'm having a blast with the game. I've put probably like 15 hours into it so far. I've put way too much time into the game. I will be playing a lot more. And I want to get all the agents. I want to get through the game. I think for $60, it's worth a buy, but you need to know going in that this is not a Saints Row game. It doesn't have the same arcadey style to it. It's definitely it feels more of a hardcore shooter game than just an arcadey superhero game like Saints Row 4. God, my cat's bugging me right now.
I know, mine is bugging me too. Like, she's literally sitting next to me.
Just walks over and puts her claws in my leg like, hey, pay attention to me. No, I will not.
Staring at me being good.
Carnage mentioning his complaint is that there's no online multiplayer. Maybe they'll add it. I don't see them adding online to this game. It feels very much like a single player experience to me. I don't know how well online would work with this, especially with having the 3 agents that you could switch between. I don't know how well that would work.
The only reason that makes me a little bit, not nervous per se, but just skeptical, is that this game, as with a lot of single-player only games, will drop down in price pretty quickly.
Probably, yeah.
I could see this game going down to like $30 during the Black Friday sales, like very easily.
I wouldn't be shocked. I do have a feeling that this game isn't going to retain its value for too long compared to some of the other games. But I don't think that means it's not worth the price. I know it's been getting a lot of backlash for the humor. I enjoyed the humor. I have a stupid sense of humor. I like the absurd. I like the profane.
I don't understand why that would be an issue if, like, at least knowing the Saints Row series, it's always been stupid and silly humor. It's not like it's witty or like something you got to think about. It's always like dumbass jokes that are just so dumb that they're actually really funny.
Yeah, it's very much an offbeat sense of humor, and I like the fact that during missions, conversations will change depending on which your current agent is out. Like, there's just such stupid banter between the characters. Hollywood is like a stupid airhead of a Hollywood star who's now a super agent. Different ethnicities from around the world are part of it, which even comes into play. They have kind of like, I don't want to say like a side mission thing, but in the arc you could like claim different areas on the world map. It's basically kind of like an idle game where you pick a character to send to this area and you can't use it for a certain amount of time, but you can eventually unlock bonuses like money or extra contracts or quests that you could do in the actual game. But the ethnicity of your characters and where they're from can affect the time that it takes, because if they're from that area, it'll like cut that time in half. Overall, I really enjoyed the game. I know it's getting mixed reviews out there. I think people are expecting this to be a new Saints Row game when it's very much not. It is definitely a shooter first and then action game later. For $60, I got to give it a buy it though. I love it.
Okay, that's good.
Any questions from you guys about it that I can answer?
Well, you answered my retaining value question, which was my biggest worry about the game is just the fact that I know it's going to be cheap soon.
I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked to see it drop in price. I can imagine this game just being outright without a sale $40 by holiday. If you're okay waiting for it, I think whatever you end up paying for it, you're going to have a fun time with, but you have to realize that this is not Saints Row 5. That's the important thing. People are expecting that, and it's not. It's very much its own thing with its own style. It shares the same world, but it's not Saints Row. So, Cole, any questions from you?
No.
Cool, then we're going to move on. The next game to talk about is called Sudden Strike 4, developed by Kite Games, published by Calypso Media Digital, released August 11th on Steam for $49.99. Sudden Strike is back. The beloved real-time strategy series returns, this time with bigger battlefields, more units, better graphics, new scenarios, and legendary commanders with individual abilities, all of which makes Sudden Strike 4 more tactical and realistic than ever before. CJ, you previewed this one a while ago. You've now had time with the full retail game. Give us the lowdown.
All right. Well, like I said before, and nobody's going to remember this, so I'm basically going to be repeating a lot. This game plays very much like a game I used to play called Blitzkrieg. It's a realistic, more for hardcore RTS fans kind of game where you have to manage things. You can even go as far as to hold your mouse button where you want to put your enemies, and then depending on how you move it, that'll change the position of the enemies your units, so that you can have like all your tanks in the front or all your tanks in the back, and have your military on foot unit on front. Like it gets pretty in depth on how you can customize that. This is not really a base building game. Like some people might think that it's more like a Red Alert style where you can like build up your base and then attack. It's more like you get a set mission, and then you got to take your squad and you got to go and take over areas and blow things up and destroy their bases. And the game is pretty fun. I still have my major complaint, which was not addressed, and that this game is extremely slow. Like there's a lot of moments like where you'll just spend a good minute or two waiting for your units to just walk.
Oh man,
it's highly annoying, and it's one of those moments like the idea of having to just take out your phone and just look at your phone for a couple of minutes because you're gonna be bored. Like I wish that there was just a fast forward so that you could move at like 2x speed while there's no battle going on, and then maybe if your units get shot at, it automatically goes back to normal, and then I'm
kind of surprised they don't have a fast forward mechanic in the game. Usually, a lot of turn-based stuff will have battle speed
This isn't turn-based at all. This is all RTS.
Oh.
There is no turn-based aspect whatsoever. I can see where people would think that because of the picture showing the mission select, which kind of looks like a board that you would see like territories, and then you see the flag over it, thinking like, oh, that's what you've taken over, but really that's just the mission select screen. So, yes, this is fully RTS, where you just command your units, tell them what to do, and then destroy shit. I don't really have much else to say besides the game looks really good. It plays well, but it's slow as hell, and you got to be okay with a tactical and slow, methodical game. You can't be coming in expecting this to be Blitzkrieg like I was thinking, where there's a lot of battles that are extremely fast-paced and there's tons of units. This is completely slow, and then you'll get one big build-up moment, and then it'll go back to being slow for a while.
All right. Any big changes you noticed from your original preview, or any differences from that to now?
Like what they said before was that the game when we got the preview was mostly finished, and they just were adding finishing touches. There doesn't seem to be much that's actually different with it at all. Like it seems like it was still the same game.
All right.
It
looks like it's a really good looking game if your system can handle the higher settings.
Yeah, no, the game is beautiful looking. Like, I'll give them credit there. It looks great. I like the realistic sounds. Like, it all sounds like real war. The voice acting is mostly decent, with a little bit of like, there's a couple of voices that are like, why? Like, they don't sound. They just sound like a guy with a weird voice. So I can accept like maybe this dude just has a weird voice, but it's not a bad game. I see it's getting mixed reviews on Steam, and I can understand why. Because if you're not in for the slow-paced, methodical game, this is just not going to be that fun.
Yeah. Overall, for $50, what are your thoughts?
I can only give this a try it because it's just that it seems like a high price on top of it.
Makes sense.
Like it's not a bad game. It's just I would wait for a sale.
Sounds good. I forgot to mention it is on PS4 as well for $50 as well. I forgot to put that in my notes. So it's on Steam and PS4 for the $50. So moving on, next game to talk about is called Jump Step Step, developed by Feng and Zheng Feng Din. I hope I'm saying those right. I apologize if I'm not. Published by Thundercloud Studio, released August 11th on Xbox One for $7.99, previously on Steam. Jump Step Step is a gorgeous and funny programming game with bonsai trees, crazy robots, and a broken rocket. Bob is short-circuited and goes mental. Please send him a series of moves to guide him back to his ship. Without your help, Bob will probably tell himself to step on a spike and die. Our friend Dark Mika covered this one and sent in her email, and this is what she has to say. Jump Step Step is an input control sequence game, which means you have to tell the game every single action you want to take, and then when you're done inputting everything, you let the character go about moving the whole sequence. The story for this one is you're a robot and its controller partner, I think it's breaking the fourth wall a bit, trying to get the robot's parts and upgrades and fix a ship. Beyond that, there is no story. There is, however, banter between the robot and the controller, which at times is amusing. The game is cute and has a childish look to it, has a simple and only okay audio track. As you play the game, you get upgrades to the robot, which make the game harder and harder. Getting things done with these extra bits makes it easier, but understanding how to use them is difficult. If you understand the game, this will go by fast. If you don't understand these games or use a walkthrough, then this game will take a good long time. Sadly, that good long time will be incredibly frustrating. Sadly, these kind of games are either A, you're good at them, B, you understand them quickly, and Piddles, can you stop hitting my keyboard? Jesus Christ, cat. She hits my keyboard and like the window pops up and covers half the screen. Freaking cat. B, you understand them quickly and get good at them. C, you fucking hate them. There's not really much of an in-between on this kind of game. These games are fair but difficult, so this won't be a game for most people. For $8, I totally suggest people try it if they haven't played this kind of game before. If they hate them, maybe not because it's more of the same, and if they love them, these kinds of games, then get 100%, get it, because it's not going to be hard for them, and it's cute as hell. So, yeah, it looks very interesting. I know when I first saw the trailer for it, just the whole programming aspect seemed very complex. So,
yeah, I've never actually seen this game to judge what it looks like, but it sounds pretty unique.
It's like a programming platformer, and I ended up picking up myself to give it a shot. Didn't get to play it yet, but I think I'm going to give it a go. For $8, it's fairly cheap, so even if you don't like it, at least it's not that expensive.
I suppose that's true.
And I appreciate the fact that they're trying something different instead of just more of the same. Seriously, Piddles, can you not stick your tail in my fucking face? Dark Mika also sent in a bonus review, and I think, Cole, you're going to be interested to hear this one.
Uh-oh.
Okay. What was that?
Are you okay? You're just like, uh-oh.
I'm just really tired. I'm sorry.
It's okay. You're after this one. Bonus review from Dark Mika. I'm just going to go into it because I don't have the info written down. Narcosis is an underwater horror walking sim. At least that's the best way to put it. You have to fend yourself off from a few sea creatures and oxygen deprivation, all while trying to find your way back to the surface. At the same time, you are seemingly slowly losing your mind. The situation is what most of the story is. As you play, you find out more about why your character's underwater, who he's working with, and what's going on. Collectibles exist in the game as there's 28 total, 19 personal objects, and 19 ID cards, which does not add up to 28, so there's a typo in there somewhere. Both sets of collectibles reveal more about the other characters in the game, which in turn reveals more about the story overall. Most of the ID cards are beyond easy to find. Some of the personal objects are kind of a pain in the ass even when you're looking for them, but most of them aren't too hard to find, just need to explore to a minor degree. It also helps that each level shows you what you need to collect and what you've already collected. You walk mostly, boosting with the thrusters as you can/want. You are heavy so you can't jump otherwise. The boosters overheat and only last for a few seconds at a time. It's not a difficult game, but you could get turned around since there's no map or any waypoints. Most environments are fairly easy to navigate, but not all of them. It's visually a gorgeous game, and it gives you a sense of dread, and it even increases that dread sometimes because of your character hallucinating. Fending off creatures is interesting in the game. They treat it like you're underwater, so swinging is slow against fast creatures. It was really cool to have that added into it. It isn't, however, a long game. Even with me searching around and watching videos to help me find collectibles, I couldn't. I spent 6 to 7 hours total on the game. The video I was watching was 100% walkthrough in a single video. It was under 2 hours long. If you just want the story and aren't going for the miscellaneous achievements or even the collectibles, you could probably beat the game in a couple hours without help. For $20, as much as I enjoyed it and as beautiful it was, I'll have to say to wait until it's on sale for $10 to $15. For a 4-ish hours of playtime, $20 seems like a fairly steep price. However, it's definitely one you will possibly like to have in your collection, unless you just absolutely hate walking sims of any sort, period. But who hates walking sims as a whole? So get it. What'd you think, Eternal?
Walksploration!
She didn't mention Hammy.
She didn't. It hurts my heart. Hammy has already been forgotten. It's not even been that long.
Rip Hammy. So anyway, next game to talk about is called Eventide 2 Sorcerer's Mirror, developed by the House of Fables, published by the good fine folks at Artifacts Mundi. Releases August 25th, so it's coming out next week on Xbox One for $9.99. Explore an enchanted world full of imps, apparitions, magical animals, and other mysterious creatures taken directly from Eastern European folk and fairy tales. Embark on a mystical adventure in a forgotten mountain village ruled by an immortal sorcerer. Can you unravel his secret? Cole, did you unravel a secret?
I did. I played the game twice.
Ooh.
In about, maybe about 12 hours time. No walkthrough. I just went into it. I love Artifacts Mundi games, and it's, I can't find anything overwhelming to complain about because Artifacts Mundi games, they all follow the same formula, but they follow that formula because it's a good formula and it works, and you can't be mad at that because at least when you pick up one of these titles, you know what you're getting. You know that you're going to get a point and click with a really creative and interesting story that's going to pull you in and you want to know the conclusion of it, and it will encourage you to continue through even when some of the puzzles are more difficult or time consuming. As usual, you've got a female protagonist. In this case, it's the return of Mary, who is the alchemist that we see in Eventide 1. There's not a lot of parallels between Eventide 1 and Eventide 2, though it does carry on with the, trying to revive a character that has passed and is trapped in a mirror world like we saw before. And I think the same kind of premise was used. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was Dark Arcana that had the same mirror world premise. So it's not, anything, earth-shattering or new story-wise, but it is still a good story. It does have its differences. Instead of being one person trying to revive a loved one, this involves an entire town being under the control of a sorcerer who has locked away the souls of, people that have been lost in this town. So the whole village is affected by this sorcerer and his attempt to revive or not these townspeople. It plays well. One of the things that some of the older Artifacts games hiccuped on, though, was in some of the animation scenes, you would notice that the voiceovers didn't quite match up with the animations for the faces. That has, in the last couple of Artifacts games, that has been remedied. And I would say Eventide as a whole is probably better animated, and the syncing with the voice is probably one of the best that they have so far.
Oh, nice. I know the first Eventide was kind of looked at as being one of the more mediocre games, and I think a lot of that stems to the fact that it was made by someone else and not in-house Artifacts.
And this one is the same. I want to say House of Fear. House of Fables. House of Fables. And I was halfway there. I did okay. I'm tired. But yeah, it's Dark Arcana has the same kind of hiccup. Like, it follows the same formula, but you can tell it's a little different. And as far as Eventide's differences goes from what you would expect from, in-house Artifacts Mundi games, there isn't the minigame option as opposed to playing the hops, which would be the hidden object puzzles for anybody not familiar with that. But
so no mahjong in this one?
Yeah, there's no mahjong, there's no card games or anything alternative. It's just the hidden object puzzles. Most of the Artifacts Mundi in-house games, they tend to have more of the hidden object puzzles where you have the list of things to search for. And when you replay those hops, you will actually get different lists to search. It'll be the same picture overall, but what you got to find is there'll be little nuances that are different.
That's cool.
This one, unfortunately, does struggle in that regard, and each playthrough is identical. All the items will be in the same places, and it will be the same items you have to find. So it would be nice if it, was a little more varied, especially because you do have to play it twice to get the achievements. This one does also add a morality choice to some aspects, to some parts of the story. You have to decide if you're going to lie to the townspeople or if you're just going to be nice to them and not expect anything in return.
Is that where the achievements come in for multiple playthroughs?
Yeah. And I actually, like I said, I played through it twice just in the last, 24 hours or so. And mine, people have completed it on TA, but mine glitched. There is an achievement for, obviously you play it through and you will make certain choices. There's an achievement that says to replay the game and make different choices. So when I played through mine, I made 1 negative 1 and 4. There's 5 choices, 5 morality choices. So I made 1 negative 1 and 4. 4 positive ones after I realized, oh, that's a positive negative effect. Then when I replayed it the next time, I did the same one that I had done negative the first time. I did positive, and then I flipped the other 4 to negative, and my achievement didn't pop. So
I wonder if you have to do all positive and all negative to trigger that.
Yeah, that's what I'm afraid of. And if that's the case, I'm a little less amused. But at least reoccurring playthroughs, you already have, if you've done it the first time, you'll probably already have all the collectibles and everything. This one does have, I believe it was 34 collectibles. There are guides for that part, but
shocking.
Typically with Artifacts Monday games and where they're out on mobile and stuff, there's guides just everywhere.
Yeah, that's one of the good things about Artifacts games is because they've been on other platforms for so long that people who are struggling with them can find walkthroughs fairly easily.
There aren't as many for this one though. Surprisingly enough, there were a few YouTube videos of people that had played through. So if you were really desperately stuck, you could go searching through a YouTube video. But there's not an actual text guide from Big Fish Games for it. So that was a bit of a surprise.
So overall, for $10, what are your thoughts on this one?
It's still really good. I do wish that the hops changed so that at least when you're doing those required multiple playthroughs, it would be a little different. But otherwise, it's still your classic Artifacts Monday formula, even though it was done by House of Fables, and it's still really enjoyable. The story is really good, and I give it a buy it.
Sounds good. So in terms of their Xbox One releases, they're still running a perfect record.
They are. You can't be mad at them.
I know we had someone else cover the PS4 version of the first Eventide, and they gave it a try it mainly because it was missing a lot of the charm of the official Artifacts games. Although I believe you gave that one a buy it when we first covered it on Xbox.
I do. That is one other hiccup too. It doesn't have the bonus chapter where typically the in-house ones will have the story mode, and then they'll have a bonus chapter that you can unlock and play afterwards. And this one does not have that bonus chapter.
But they're still good. But it's still Artifacts.
Yeah, the overall campaign though did seem like it was a little longer than usual.
That's good.
Well, that made up for it.
Well, anyway, thanks for covering that. We're gonna let you go to bed because I know
bless your heart.
you got the chillins and you got to wake up early. So you get going. We're going to wrap this up. We have a couple more reviews to talk about. So go away.
Have a good rest of the show and goodbye.
Next game to talk about is called Absolute Drift Zen Edition, developed by Fun Selector Labs, published by Flipfly. This one will be releasing on the August 25th on Xbox One for $11.99, previously on Steam. Absolute Drift is a racing game about becoming a master at the art of drifting. Practice your skills in free roam and compete in drift events such as Driftkana and mountain drifting. This one is a really, really cool twist on racing games where this one, you're not competing against other people to come in first place. This is strictly a single player. A lot of them are score-based, just about mastering the art of drifting. It starts off easy enough where it just gives you a round circular arena, and you just have to drift as much as you can and get a high score in a certain amount of time. From there, things will change it up where you have 3 laps on certain courses to get as high of a score as you can instead of timed. They add things like certain corners where you have to drift as close as you can to the corner or to a pole on the corner. The closer you get, the higher of a score bonus you get. They have drift lines where you have to try drifting across a line of dots, and if you complete all of them, you'll get an even bigger score bonus. If you hit a wall, it resets things. You gain multipliers the bigger your drifts are and the more angled your drifts are. There's also other events where it's all about Drift Kana, where it's more, instead of a racetrack, it's more of like an arena based thing where you have to either drift around certain circle areas to do donuts around those areas, or they have a small box that you have to basically just spin around inside. And again, it's all score based, so you got to get as big as you can. Each of the different levels has different goals that you can go for, whether it's like get a 10x multiplier or get a 5-second long drift, stuff like that. The biggest challenge people are going to have going into this game is going to be the controls. Even after playing it for a few hours, there's times where I just can't get the controls down pat. But once you kind of get in the zone and everything is just going right, like last I checked, I had a number 1 score on the first tutorial level, which was crazy. Just the one level, I was in it and everything was going right, and I ended up getting the first place. And then I replayed it again, and I did absolute garbage. So it's one of those things where once it clicks for you, it's going to click, and things are going to work really well. Visually, it has a very minimalistic art style to it, which I really enjoy. Your vehicle always has like tire tracks trailing behind you. Like even when you go off a jump and you're in the air, the tire tracks are up in the air swirling around, and it's hilarious to watch. The open world aspect of it is really cool for the free roam, which is the main game, by the way. Like the main game is the free roam, where you could drive around little, I don't want to say a city area, but little, I don't know, areas. I can't word today. And you know, there's certain collectibles that you could find on there, or there's little mini missions of like drift between this barrier and a wall, or do a donut around this post, or go off this ramp and clip the one thing. So there's a lot of unique stuff in there to keep you busy instead of just doing the same missions over and over. But it's going to come down to doing those missions, getting the best scores you can, completing all the objectives that you can, unlocking bonus midnight run events where everything is nighttime, and it makes it's like a whole different experience when it's nighttime and the vision is reduced. Again, I just think that a lot of people are going to have issues with the controls in the game. I think perfecting the art of drifting is going to be the biggest challenge for people, and if you can do that, you're going to have a blast with this game. But it is a fairly steep learning curve at the start. For $12, I'm giving it a recommend to try it because it's a really, really cool game. It's a nice, fun twist on the whole driving genre, and it's just so damn stylish and good looking, and the music is incredible in it. But it's definitely not going to be for everyone. There's going to be people who fire it up, play it for 5 minutes, and they're like, I can't fucking do this, and they'll just give up. And I think that's going to happen to a couple of people who buy it thinking it's just going to be an easy kind of racing game, but it's not. But once you get into it, it's very rewarding.
Awesome. It does seem pretty cool. I like the art style of it.
Yeah, I love the visuals of it. Really cool looking game. Speaking of good looking games, the next one to talk about is called Chromagun, developed and published by Pixel Maniacs. You might remember we had them on the show a couple of weeks ago. The game is releasing August 23rd on Xbox One and PS4 for $12.99, previously on Steam. Welcome to Chromatech's Test Lab. You're here to test our state-of-the-art military-grade color technology, the Chromagun, patent pending. Use it to solve our meticulously designed test chambers by painting the walls and droids. Remember how to mix colors from preschool? Congratulations, you qualify. CJ, I did the interview on this one, so you're doing the review on this one. What'd you think?
Well, the first thing everybody's going to think is, wow, this looks pretty similar to Portal. And, while it has the same basis of going through test chambers and solving puzzles, the whole way you do that is completely different. You know, rather than using a gun that creates portals, you use a gun that paints objects. And you have to paint walls and droids to attract the droids to that wall to either move them out of your way or move them onto a switch or something like that in order to open up a door. So this game is more unique in that sense. Like, it's not copying the same exact thing that other games have already done. And on top of that, you can use the gun to mix colors. Like, you have 3 different colors you can use: red, blue, and yellow. But if you know how to mix colors, which I mean everybody does, as long as you're over the age of 5, you will be able to change the colors to match. Like, the droid might be green and you have to move it to a wall. It's like, well, there's no walls that are green nearby, so what do? You mix yellow and blue on the wall by shooting yellow first and then shooting blue, or the other way around. It doesn't really matter which one you shoot first. Point is just combine it. And then all of a sudden the wall will be green and the droid will be attracted to it as long as it's within the range. There's also things like, if you combine all 3 colors, you get like this weird, like, dark blue. It's like kind of useless. I haven't gotten to a point to where I have really a use for that. It seems more like there's a couple of things I've seen that's like, it seems like a secret that I just don't know how to really access, so I just continued playing the game. But maybe there's some secret puzzles that you have to solve by doing all 3 colors and moving a certain droid. The game's looks are pretty good. I like the visual aspect. It's very, very like futuristic, almost all white, aside from whatever you color. The game has some pretty funny humor and some decent voice acting, although like it seems like the microphone could have been a little bit clearer that they used. Like, it wasn't the greatest sounding as far as like clearness. However, the lines they had of dialogue was pretty funny. And I love the way they, when they were introducing the gun, they quietly said right after, like, patent pending. It was like, that was pretty funny. Like, good job on that. So if you're into a more goofy style of, well, I can't really say more goofy style of Portal, because Portal is also not exactly the most serious game. Yeah. But if you're into a different type of Portal, then this is definitely going to be up your alley. And for only $12.99, I can't see any reason to give it any less than a buy it, because it's just a unique game. It is a bit on the short side, but it's $12.99, and it's, from what I've heard, it takes like 4 to 5 hours to beat. I did not beat the game, but I did get a pretty good chunk into it.
Definitely a cool game, and if people are interested, go back, check out episode 303. That is where we had our Chroma Gun interview, so go check that one out as well. But overall, good stuff. Next game to talk about is called Castle Storm VR, developed and published by Zen Studios. It released August 1st on PlayStation VR for $14.99. Experience Castle Storm, a super genre mashup of 2D physics destruction mashed with a tower defense brawler in full VR that catapults you onto the battlefield. Throw yourself into the heat of the battle as you pit knights, soldiers, archers, and even griffins against formidable foes in castle versus castle combat. Get medieval in a whole new way with Castle Storm VR. If you have played the original Castle Storm on any of the platforms that it is currently available on, you pretty much know how this game is going to go. Overall gameplay is very much the same. When I first started the game up, I was kind of surprised at the fact that the whole VR aspect to it was like your character sitting in a movie theater watching the intro and the menus and the cutscenes on a movie screen. I'm like, is this really all they did with the VR aspect of it? And then once the actual level started, that's when it went into full immersive VR mode, where it feels like you're a soldier on like an outpost watching the battle from afar and issuing the commands. It's a really cool viewpoint on things. It's basically the same camera angles in the standard game. It just feels more immersive when it's in first person and you're the one looking around everywhere. Like if you're in the watchtower and there's like a wooden post on the side, you could like peek around it to kind of to see around and look at the enemies from there. Gameplay wise, it's very much a mixture of tower defense where enemies are going to come marching towards your castle and you can control a ballista to fire arrows or other various unlockable items at the enemies to attack them. You can also send out different soldiers that you have to go out and face them one-on-one, or however many on however many. And then if you want to get into the action yourself, you could summon the lead soldier and control him directly in basically a hack and slash style game. So it's a mixture of tower defense as well as the action hack and slash gameplay as well. And it works really well. And then there's also like the physics destruction element where you have to take out the opponent's castle room by room, destroying walls and collapsing areas. It's just a really, really cool mixture of game elements. If you have already played Castle Storm on PlayStation or Xbox or whatever platform before, I don't think Castle Storm VR is a required purchase because it's basically the same game with a much more immersive viewpoint on things. But if you've never played Castle Storm VR, I think this is probably the definitive way to do it. From just like chilling in a theater with a bucket of popcorn next to you. That I won't lie, I tried grabbing it. To just
nobody can turn down popcorn. I mean,
seriously,
really.
man, it'll look good with that Zen art style to it. To being more immersed in the actual stages and the levels. I think this is the way to play it if you've never played it before. If you're a huge fan of the game and you're just looking to play through it again with a fun new twist, I think for $15 it's worth picking up. But for most people, if you've played it, you've played it. For newcomers, I definitely recommend trying it. $15, especially for a VR game, isn't that much. So highly recommend to try it on this one.
Doesn't really seem like there's much of a VR tax on this one. So.
Yeah, which is very good. Zen has been really good with not tacking on a bunch of extra money for VR versions of games for the most part. So, if you've already played it, it's nothing new. If you've never played it before, it's definitely worth checking out, and this is probably the best way to do it.
Awesome.
All right, next game to talk about. This one is more of a kind of a preview-ish kind of review-ish. This is called Dusk, developed by David Szymanski, published by New Blood Interactive. It is releasing, quote, when it's ready in 2017. There's no price on it either. It will be available for a pre-order sometime before QuakeCon on the 24th, according to the developers. And Episode 1 of the game, which is what we're going to be talking about, will be available immediately for those who pre-order it. Battle through an onslaught of mystical backwater cultists, possessed militants, and even darker forces as you attempt to discover just what lurks beneath the earth in this retro FPS inspired by all of your 90s favorites. Featuring a single-player campaign, endless survival mode, and classic arena multiplayer in up to 3 different chapters that they are apparently working on. I know Chapter 1's complete, and that's what you covered, so CJ, tell us about Chapter 1, or Episode 1, or whatever they're doing.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I think it's like it's called Episode 1, so I'm going to assume that they're sticking with Episode.
Yeah.
But, yeah, no, this is probably the best game I've played for this show today. This game is actually really, really solid. Like, I was super into it immediately. It brought me back to all of the 90s style shooters with some really awesome, like, new age twists to it. Like, when you're sprinting, if you press the crouch button, you'll slide. And, like, in old school shooters, that was not a thing. You could not slide. So that was pretty damn awesome that they threw in some new stuff to kind of make it seem more modern while also keeping the vibe and low look of a 90s shooter. Like, this game looks 90s with the way enemies will have, like, pixelated or not pixelated, but like they don't exactly look right because back then you couldn't really make something look human. It's a little hard to explain, but basically, like, their limbs will come to, like, a point and then attach to their body. Like, these one guys have, like, the legs that are, like, weirdly attached, and it looks like they attach with, like, a triangle. But the game actually surprised me in that it seems a bit more like a horror-ish title. Like I get that it's mainly an FPS with some fun little weapon variety and shit, but that game made me jump way more times than I really expected it to. Maybe it's just not expecting an enemy to be there and attached with the music and the art style, because it's kind of darkish, but I have jumped multiple times.
Oh, wow.
So far I've only run into a few different types of enemies. Like there's not a huge amount of variety of enemies. There's also some bosses, which were pretty cool. But like I ran into these guys that I was talking about earlier with the weird points that attach their like legs to their torso. But they carry like chainsaws and have like a bag over their head, like a sack, really, not really a bag. And they'll just swing at you. They're slow, and they take time to swing their chainsaw, so you have plenty of time to avoid them. As long as they're not grouped up on you, it's not too bad. And then you have like these scarecrow things that shoot like shotguns at you, and they're not fun. They have a lot of health, and it takes many shots to actually take those things down. It takes like 40 pistol shots.
Oh God.
So yeah, I mean, ideally you want to stop using pistols as soon as possible, because the pistols kind of suck, especially when you get the dual wielding shotguns. Like those are awesome. It doesn't seem physically possible. Like both of your arms would be broken, but you know, whatever. It's a game. Who cares?
And I love the fact that this is like legit straight out of the 90s. Every now and then when we get games for review, they'll have like a player's guide giving you details on the game and information that might help you with the reviewing and everything else. And this one, it says, so what's up with the graphics? Yes, they look like that on purpose. So this is very much an old school 90s visual to it. So
no, like you can totally tell that too, because the beginning visual for when you first start up the game looks like a 2016, like 2017 title screen, in the sense of like once you click to start playing, it has this amazing looking animation. So you know that they can do better than that. It was on purpose for sure. Like
yeah,
it was definitely made to look like that.
We've been using similar polygon and palette restrictions to match Quake 1. Unity keeps trying to make the game look better. So yes, it's very much an intentional look to it.
Honestly, and then probably the best part is just the amazing music.
Oh my God, the soundtrack in this game is fucking nuts. I'm going to try tracking down some of the songs to play on the show for this episode, as long as I could get my hands on them.
Yeah, because that would definitely be worth the time to put those on, because that's probably one of the best soundtracks I've heard in an old school shooter in forever. Like, that was legit. I was just on the menu for like a few minutes just listening, because I just enjoyed it. I was like, I don't want this song to stop.
And it is by Andrew Hulshult. So that is the composer. Again, I'm going to try getting some songs to play on this episode, but it is ball-rockingly metal. It is so fucking good.
It is amazing. I suppose since this is the preview, I probably shouldn't get that much more into it, but
well, yeah. I got some fresh details on it. I never got to go through all my email for the day, but it's up to purchase now. You can pre-purchase Dusk for $20, and it includes the entire episode 1 right now. And apparently the full game is going to launch October 31st.
Oh, cool. Oh, wow.
So yeah, I'm just finding these details now.
It's actually weird because it's actually $20 instead of $19.99.
Yep, straight up $20.
It's kind of weird. I was actually expecting the game to be $15. Like, I'm a little bit surprised that it is $20. But fully, if the game's second and third episodes continue to be as fun as the first one is, I can see it being worth that.
Yeah, because again, you only played the first episode of the game. The full game will have 2 more full, complete episodes to it.
Yeah, and I didn't get to try any multiplayer because obviously, at this point in time, there's like nobody else playing the game.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can see it being worth $20.
So for $20, your verdict?
Right now I'm gonna give them faith and give it a buy it, because this was definitely the most fun I've had this week playing a video game.
In my eyes, I would probably drop $20 for the soundtrack alone.
That's true.
Legitimately, the music is just so goddamn good.
It really is.
So yeah, speaking of good soundtracks, one final game to talk about tonight. The last game to talk about is called Thumper, developed and published by Drool, releasing August 18th on Xbox One for $19.99. Yes, Thumper is finally making the jump to Xbox One. Thumper is rhythm violence, classic rhythm action, blistering speed, and brutal physicality. You are a space beetle. Brave the hellish void and confront a maniacal giant head from the future. Scream down the endless track and crash through punishing obstacles with simple airtight controls. Hurtle forward, master new moves, reach overwhelming velocities, and survive epic boss battles. Every crushing impact is interwoven with a pounding original soundtrack. To reach synthetic bliss, you must go through rhythm hell. This was one of like the absolute must-owns when the PlayStation VR first launched. It has since made its way to other platforms in both VR and non-VR formats, and it is finally making the jump to Xbox One. I poured a ton of time into the PSVR version of this game, and I'm excited to go through it again on Xbox One. And I can confirm that the game is still as goddamn good now as it was then. Gameplay wise, everything is fairly simple. It comes down to using the analog stick and the A button, and that is it.
Pretty simple.
Very simple in theory.
I think I remember hearing about this game now.
Yeah, there's different obstacles that are going to pop up on this single track that you go through. It's going to be everything from just tapping the A button to when you cross over a certain little glowing icon on the track, to holding the A button as you blast through barriers. You have to hold the A button and go around turns, hold the different direction as you go around the turns. You basically have one shielded life, and then if you get hit again, you die on the level. But you can earn the shield, I guess the shells for the beetle, you can earn those back various checkpoints through the level. There's 10 stages in the game, and each one is broken up into a whole bunch of different parts. So, like if you're worried about dying, there's plenty of checkpoints to go through the stages. Like the second stage alone has like 22 sections to the stage. So while some of them might be longer and you might have to go back and replay some of the sections if you die, it's never super punishing to the point that you're going to give up on it and be like, fuck this game, piece of shit. But it is definitely a punishing game. It is not easy. They ease the mechanics onto you as you go through it, whether it's just, again, at the start, you're going to just be hitting the A button and holding a certain direction. As you go through, they're going to throw different things at you, where you're going to have to jump to do things, and then you're going to have to drop back down to the ground to do things, and then you're going to go directly into the turns, and you're going to be hitting the button. It gets hectic quick, but in a very, very good way. The visuals are outstanding, very trippy. This is a game you're going to want to play with the lights off and either the sound blasting or headphones on.
I thought you were about to say this is a game you want to play high, and I'm like, I don't know. You might get too confused.
I should try that. I'm not good at playing stuff high, but I might give it a try because the trippy visuals might be worth it.
It could make for a very interesting and headache-filled night.
and even for just a rhythm game, the imagery in the game, it's, when they say rhythm hell, it is a very disturbing art style to the game. Like, this is something where if you play it too much, you might get nightmares just from the visuals and like the crazy floating heads and the levels that you get. Like, it's nothing gory. It's nothing bloody and messy. This is not an M-rated game. It's just a very intense game.
Yeah, it looks pretty damn intense.
But holy shit, is this game fucking good. Like, I love this on the PSVR. I'm thrilled that we finally have the chance to review it on this show, because I have been dying to give this game a motherfucking buy it. And now I can. now I can give it the official motherfucking buy this game, because it's probably one of the best rhythm games out there. It really is.
And that comes from the rhythm game expert. So
seriously, I love rhythm games. Content-wise, it might not be the biggest wealth of content in the game, but it is just the amount of replayability in the game. Just trying to get the best scores you can to get S ranks on all the levels. Like, you can get an S rank on a stage and get a shitty score because of how the scoring in this game works. You get letter grades on each of the sections of the stage pretty much based on your performance on that stage. But as you progress through the stage, like, if you get a no miss, you'll get a point bonus, or like no miss, no damage, you'll get a point bonus. If you do it in the next stage, you get a ×2 bonus, ×3, ×4, ×5. If you restart the stage, that combo goes away. So if you have a bunch of S ranks and then you fuck up and you're like, well, I want to get S ranks on all the levels, you could restart that section. Like, you could still get all S ranks and finish with an S rank, but end up replaying every single stage and not getting any of those carryover bonuses to get a really high score. I had a higher score on the one level with an A rank than I did with an S rank because I fucked up more times and restarted more times to get the S's.
Right.
Thankfully, the achievements in the game come down to the S ranks and not your score.
Yeah, so you can... So would you say that the achievements are actually pretty doable?
If you're patient, yes. I believe all the achievements in the game come down to beating the stage and then beating it with an S rank.
Yeah.
And then I think there's one extra one for getting S ranks on everything.
Yeah. So
Which, thinking back, I think there's only 9 stages instead of 10. Because I think
there is only 9. That makes sense, because there's a level 1 through 8 achievement, and then there's one for just beating all levels. So 9 would make sense.
Yeah. And then because even like numerically, it seems like you get 25 points for beating a level on the game, and then 75 for S ranking it.
Yeah.
So it's been a while since I played the final stages in the game, so I did not play through every stage on the Xbox version of the game, but I'm working on it. I've been out of practice for a while, so I need to get back into it. If you've already played this in a VR format on Steam, Oculus, or on PlayStation VR, you know, I think the VR version is probably the definitive way to play it. But if you don't have access to any of those versions, I think the Xbox version is absolutely true to the game and worth every single penny. For $20, like I said, this is an absolute buy it for the visuals, the soundtrack, the simplicity, but still the difficulty and complexity of the game. It's just as near perfect to a rhythm game as you can get. So, yeah, buy it. Buy it.
Awesome.
And that is our reviews.
This show has been 3 hours.
No shit. Welcome to the SML podcast.
This one just kept going. I was like, jeez, how much more is there?
Yeah, like I said, welcome to the SML podcast. We don't do short shows anymore. We have too much shit going on to do a half-hour episode.
I don't think I was ever here for a half hour.
We've never done a half-hour episode. I think our first one was like 45 minutes. And that was we kind of expected it to kind of like hang out around an hour, but that was when it was just some friends bullshitting about video games. And now we do like reviews and interviews and news and like important shit. So I'd rather give everything the attention the time and attention it deserves instead of half-assing shit. So that's my thoughts on the matter. And you can't bitch anyway. You only have 2 more episodes to fucking deal with, so suck a dick.
That's true. That's true.
Suck a dick. But anyway, that is it for this episode. Thank you so much again to Vincent Gallopain for joining us and his incredible French accent. That's such a fun chat. He's awesome. I can't wait to get him back on. Nothing? You're just...
No, he was pretty fun.
You're terrible at this conversation shit.
I'm just so exhausted.
So, yeah. CJ, final words.
I'm going to barely miss out on 100 total episodes. I'm pissed. It's funny.
It's your own fucking fault.